better.
Oh, my goodness, no.
What about who wins the national title for the men? UConn, Purdue, North Carolina, or the
A little
field?
early.
A little early.
A little early.
Well, yeah, but since we're having all the college basketball talk, I just figured,
A little early.
if the top three and the fourth answer is the field.
A little early, Ed.
Just could even wait one day so that the month says February.
That's true. We are a lot early, I guess, on that.
So, Paul was on his mark this morning. It's hump day. Yeah. Oh, I got to retweet, don't I? Oh, it's very exciting.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this final day of January, where we get over the hump together. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. A little better today? Did that sound better?
Yeah, that was full-fledged. You're back.
Well, I had to go to a walk-in clinic. Give me the drugs. Give me the drugs. And I want you to give me one of those where we do a double dose in the first 24 hours. I want one of those. I want so much stuff in me. I want to laugh at my wife's jokes. I want to find the shows she puts on TV charming, entertaining. Hey, I'll watch another episode. That's how many drugs I want. Can you do that? Yeah. I want to be like Trent last week. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a college basketball game on. I'm going to clean the whole house, bathroom included. Yeah. That's how much drugs I wanted. I don't know if those are legal or not, Mark. I really don't.
Usually it's me saying that. I'm impressed that you're starting to show off with that attitude. Way to go, David.
Yeah.
Now you're feeling good. You're going to be.
It's time. Pretty soon I'll be moving to Colorado. Want to go right up to the counter and go, yeah, man, put a handful right here. Yeah, good. Yeah, throw it in the bag. Sure.
There we go. There we go. Yep. Well, yeah, that was a lot of boom today. So he's and for whatever reason, I don't know why it is. You like Wednesday. Like you look forward to Wednesday.
Yes.
You get into the hump day thing, getting over the hump. It's genuine. It's not fake.
Yep.
This is a happy day for you. You're already looking forward to the weekend or whatever the case may be. Maybe you have to go to the bank. I don't know.
Well, I can only handle so much excitement. I mean, drugs one day, the bank the next. Hey, now.
Wow.
Hey,
keep
now.
This man away from the post office.
I was going to say that just maybe we'll start with the post office and work our way to the bank by the end of the week. Come on now. You know how I get around those tellers. But I have always felt from a sports radio standpoint that once we get to today, that what took place over the weekend, it's that Raul Julia line and Gumball rally. What's behind you is not important. Okay, that's how I've always felt about Wednesday. So, I'm raring to go on Wednesday. We're going forward, baby. We're looking ahead, trying to anticipate. That is one of the things that you and I do well. Terrible with poll questions, not good with teasing. We're very good being ahead of the curve. Not with merchandise, but I mean, just as content. We're very good at looking ahead, anticipating stuff before it happens. Oftentimes, we're weeks, if not months, hell, in some cases, 8 to 10 years ahead of things. I think that's one of the things we do well.
I don't disagree, and it sounds like you may have something on the brain right now looking forward.
Well, I have to admit, I am really enjoying the medication that Rory McIlroy is on. I mean, I really am. I'm trying to remember publicly when someone in the sports world has changed their tune as radically as Rory in as short a period of time. I mean, honestly, I'm trying to remember of a team that said there's no way and we'd be interested in acquiring so-and-so. And then, 6 months later, there's the presser with their arm around so-and-so, and they've signed them to a big free agent deal. I mean, man, this Rory McIlroy turnaround. Did you hear what he said yesterday?
I think it's hard to punish people. When before, he wanted them getting life sentences with no chance of parole, and he was actually damn near talking about executing them, David.
This would be like all of a sudden when I got to be about 14, 15 years of age, my mother saying to me, well, I don't believe in grounding anymore. Wait, what? What? I spent 4th grade in my room. What are you talking about?
I'll date myself, David, but you and I both love History of the World, the Mel Brooks movie, when the piss boy becomes the king and he's looking for the pardon, and he's got execution. Boy, it's a tough room. I mean,
yes. Yeah. Yes. I mean, let them come back. Wait, what? Yes, the faster we can get back together, the better it will be for golf. I mean, what is this like? Name the band. This is Journey welcoming Steve Perry back. I mean, give me the group. What is this? This is like the Police. This is Copeland and Sting going to dinner together. I mean, give me what is this? This is epic. This turnaround.
Sammy Hagar and Diamond Dave going out for dinner.
Honestly, it is. While Eddie Van Halen was still alive. Yes. I mean, this is unreal. This is Angelina Jolie and Jennifer Aniston going to dinner together. I mean, come on.
David, isn't it Meghan and Harry having dinner with the king?
Thank you. Thank you. This really is. This is Will and Kate saying, what are you doing next Tuesday? Would you like to come over for some tea? Well, I'd love to. I'll be in the neighborhood. I'll pop in. Why don't you stay in our guest house? Wait, you mean the house we used to have? Let's not go there, shall we? Honestly, this is Chuck and Camilla. Okay. I mean, Harry called her like the wicked stepmom. Okay. And this is Camilla all of a sudden like showing up saying, oh, it'd be lovely. Shall we do dinner now?
Because Rory went scorched earth on this tour for a year and a half.
I mean, I love this. It's as if, honestly, it's like, hey, I'm sorry. I just have one more question. Are you on any medication? No. No. Did somebody get to you? No. It just somebody in the back alley make you an offer you can't refuse. What's going on here? Don't get me wrong. This is great material. I just don't change, at least not for a little while. But I mean, come on, tell me in the sports world I need help here. I can't think of anything like right off the top of my head. This is, I can't think of a team, a player.
Well, this is James Harding and what's his face making up there, the GM.
Okay.
Daryl Morey. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess it would be down the road in which all of a sudden 2 years from now, Harden and Morey are laughing and joking together, and Harden saying, hey, I'll be a free agent. Why don't you acquire me? I guess. I honestly, this is stunning to me. Which now let's either detour or step to the side. Okay. Why do we think this is? I mean, come on. I mean, for as much as we're joking here, I mean, nobody grabbed Rory, took him in a back alley and threatened to beat the snot out of him. This isn't a mob movie. All right. What's going on here? I mean, it screams to me that the tour's in trouble. It screams to me that these guys now on tour realize, yeah, maybe we were wrong. Maybe, I won't say his name, but maybe Phil was right. I mean, come on now. Think about what's going on here. I mean, Scheffler has modified himself. JT's not talking. Hell, even Spieth's not talking. Rory, let them come back. I mean, Rory yesterday at Pebble wants these guys in next week's field.
Hell, he wants him in this week's field.
He also, by the way, thinks that he and the boys, I guess, should be able to play wherever they want too. Because he just talked about, play over here, play over there.
I think every time they see a money figure attached to a player going to Live Golf, they sit there and pause. Because Tyrrell Hatton reportedly got what, $50 million?
63.
Oh, I'm sorry, 63.
Yeah.
63 million for Tyrrell Hatton.
I love the fact it's 63. Like 60 is not enough. I mean, how do you keep grinding for that extra 3?
Someone was on 65, someone was on 60, and they let Hatton win, David.
What is this, David Sampson in arbitration? I just found that yesterday, like, holy blank, what must be going on behind the scenes here? Because think about it. If supposedly $3 billion of money is coming into the PGA Tour.
That's not PIF money, David.
That's not PIF money. So therefore, shouldn't they then continue their war? Shouldn't they go back to drawing their line in the sand and saying it's us against them? You guys need to choose one or the other?
John Rahm leaving scared the hell out of him.
Oh, my goodness.
John Rahm leaving scared the hell out of him, David, because if he can leave, any of them can leave.
I think it also shows the respect that they have for Rahm, because he explained to them privately, obviously, why he's leaving. And they apparently all would agree with him. I mean, listen, I'm telling you right now, the World Golf, the WGR may be saving the PGA Tour.
I totally agree with you, because the minute they start getting World Golf ranking points, what is the purpose of staying on the PGA Tour?
But that, to me, Mark, this public about face, and Rory even said it yesterday. Obviously, I've changed my tune on this. Changed your tune? You're a completely different person. Honestly, imagine Rory sitting at a presser a year ago and these words coming out of his mouth. We'd all be looking around going, is this AI generated? Okay, that's not Rory McIlroy, is it? Miller and Moulton. There's still a lot of football stuff going on. We'll get to it.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA-certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Do you guys want to do a poll question based on that? On Rory?
I don't know how you can. What would the question be?
Yeah, I don't really know either. Just
You'd have to pick two or three other about faces. Rory's about face is most, and that's more like an English question than it is a poll question.
Well played. I mean, Rory looked into the camera and said, yeah, try to come back and play. Try it. To those that left.
I did not deposit money in the Hard Rock account yesterday. Just had things going on. And it's probably a good thing we didn't because we only won one game.
I know, although you got your Colorado State right.
Yeah.
Tell you what, though, we did call the big one. We got the big one. We got Georgia Tech, Carolina. Although I didn't see South Carolina going to Knoxville. Rick Barnes in March form already.
Yeah. That was something.
Did you see the final play of the Carolina game?
I did not.
It was a foul. It was a foul. They didn't call it. They're down one. Guy's driving. It's a foul.
Did you have any glitches with Peacock? I thought the Peacock stream's the worst stream I've ever been on.
I didn't have any issues, but one of my friends was furious about it. So maybe it was just
it would get grainy. It was just it was the poorest quality stream of, now that I've got ESPN Plus and Peacock and
you have stuff to compare it
to. And obviously YouTube TV, but it was the worst stream. And that was for the Ohio State Illinois game. Wasn't for the Michigan State game.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't have any issues, but
no, Parkowitz, we went 1-4 or 1-3. But Mark got his pick of the night right. Colorado State laying 2.5. But yeah, we played the 4 home teams and we went 1-3. Mm-hmm.
I had Indiana, Miami together. Indiana won. Miami had so many chances at the end.
Yeah, you know I didn't like that one.
Yeah. That was the value booster in the parlay. They almost pulled it out. They looked all right. That would have been a big win for them.
Most messed up resume is Georgia Tech. They have 4 of the best wins in the country and 11 losses. Did anybody see the UCF social media schedule release? It's 4 minutes. It's really well done.
4 minutes for a schedule release.
For a football schedule release. They put a little skit together in amongst the staff. It was good. It was really good. But yeah, I mean, what am I going to do? Talk to my wife?
That's becoming more. I mean, I don't know about 4 minutes, but people are starting to get creative with that kind of stuff. It's fun to watch.
It's a schedule.
Yeah.
I
know.
We'll do this.
We're good. Are we doing this?
Oh, we're doing this.
David, Jackpot Bowling premiered on NBC today with Leo DeRocher as your host.
Oh, man. Is that the equivalent of bowling for dollars?
Yes.
Vern did that in Dallas. He had more people talk to him about that than the Cowboys.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us as we get over the hump together on this final day of January. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Hey, I'm trying to be, younger, hipper, cooler. So I'm spending more time on social media.
Well, that'll do it.
Yep. No, I mean, my brain is just completely going to mush. But anyway. So
what are you on Snapchat now, David? Trying to stay younger? Or?
Take it easy now. I'm not going there. Not doing not doing TikTok or anything. I mean, come on now.
I was just trying to figure out how you were being younger on social media. I knew it wasn't Facebook. Since that's a grandparent app.
Right. But I've never been on that. I skipped that one entirely.
I know.
Right. Didn't interest me. So did you see UCF's football schedule release yesterday?
Did I see their football schedule release?
Yes. They put a 4-minute skit / presentation together.
I saw their schedule. Someone texted me a picture of their schedule.
Right.
Why do I need 4 minutes to tell me who a team plays?
Well, what are you going to do?
It's a lot of time.
What are you going to do? Talk to your wife? All right. I mean, you think your daughter wants to talk to you? I mean, after the initial comments, I mean, come on, Dad. All right. Just drive the car. Leave me alone back here. I got my, headphones on. I got my iPad.
She does that to me now. She brought her tablet and her earbuds to completely tune me out in the car.
Totally.
No chance of me trying to influence her with the music that I'm playing.
Now, I will say, if you're going to drive around listening to sports talk radio, you are inviting the headphones and the tablet.
No. I try with the daughter to only have music on.
Okay.
As best I can.
So, well, that's true. You've been playing her a lot of Zeppelin lately.
Right.
Maybe she's listening to Zeppelin.
All right. Great.
Which, no reason to listen to you.
No, she can ignore me for the rest of the time if she comes out of a room with a whole lot of love blaring. All right. That's I feel like I accomplished a lot.
I agree. I just nominate you for Parent of the Year every year. So a 4-minute schedule release. It was good. It was well done. It was entertaining. It was funny.
For 4 minutes, they better get an Emmy for crying out loud. Are you kidding me?
Maybe one of those social media awards they can send it to, get nominated for something. David Sampson's podcast is like nominated for like 4 awards. So anyway, it just, they were having fun with it. Speaking of scheduling, so imagine that you're playing Kansas next year in football. So they got this stadium construction, Mark. They're paying for it themselves. I'll give them credit for that. It's like $400+ million. Apparently, they're going to get into football, Kansas. I mean, they almost sound serious. And so Kansas is going to play their conference games at Arrowhead next year. That'll work. Now, you got to invite some Chiefs fans to the parking lot. That they have to figure out. I mean, we have no idea if Jayhawk fans know how to barbecue. We know Chief fans do.
So 4 minutes.
Yep.
To let me know that New Hampshire and Sam Houston are coming to town, huh?
You really had to focus on the first 2 non-conference automatic wins, huh? Really? You had to go there. You couldn't focus on the fact that Dion and Colorado's coming to Orlando at the end of September. You couldn't go there, could you? First home Big 12 game of the season. Prime time coming to town. Couldn't go there, could you? No. You had to go New Hampshire. Okay, fine. You know what? Don't try to be young, hip, fresh, cool with the kids. Don't watch it. Okay.
I'm going to be old, crotchety, and sit on my porch and say, David, I can read this schedule in 14 seconds. I don't need 4 minutes to find out that Cincinnati's going to be at UCF on the 12th of October.
You know what? Fine. Be old, Rory McIlroy. Okay? Be 2022, 2023, Rory McIlroy. I'm going to be 2024, Rory McIlroy. Let them all in. Okay? The more the merrier. Okay? Kumbaya. That's the new leaf that I'm turning over in honor of Rory McIlroy and the UCF social media department. I'm going to be Mr. Glass half full.
Positivity, huh?
Yes. Yeah, totally throwing you off. That's how we're getting over the hump this week.
Trent, you did a hell of a job this morning trying to influence on poll questions and things of that nature. We just had one. David Moulton says he's going to be Mr. Positivity. That will last to A, the end of today, B, the end of the week, C, the weekend, D, February. Because I'm not giving you more than a month.
Well, I wasn't saying I was going to do it for a month. I was just saying today. Today.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll say it till the end of the 7 o'clock hour.
Now, here's the question that I have. If I do the fake Trent voice, is that being negative?
Yes.
It is?
Absolutely.
So like when he said, hey, how about we have a poll question about offensive coordinators? Okay, that's being negative?
A little bit.
I don't take offense to it, so maybe not.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, that was the suggestion at 5:58 this morning. A poll question about, wait for it, offensive coordinators.
Well, hot coordinators.
If you were the young hot coordinator, would you take the Washington job? That's what I nominated.
Oh, now see, you did not say the question in full. We talked about this yesterday on the show. Is the Washington job a job in which you'd actually stay put and say, I'm good?
And I think you have to take the job because you can go from the hot coordinator to just being the coordinator. And you're no longer hot. Someone texted in Kellen Moore.
Right.
As an example yesterday, and I thought that was a great text. He was a hotshot coordinator, all set to get a head coaching job. Where is he now? He's a coordinator that's not a hotshot, not being considered for any job.
For like his third team, right?
Yeah. So I wonder, to me, it's you take the job. You get the opportunity to coach in the league, you've got to take it. Now, it's different if you're of Vrabel and you've been there and you're established. To me, then you can pick your spot. You can sit out a year and say, I'm good.
Right. You can basically let the world know, yeah, I'm done being a coordinator. I'm a head coach. Yeah. Don't think of me for any of these coordinator positions. I'm a head coach. Think Bill gets bored? You think that maybe October, November, there's a defense struggling, and a friend of his can call him up and say, hey, could you just come in for the rest of the year and run the defense? Think there's any chance?
At Navy.
Well,
at a high school. No, I'm not even, and I'm not doing this for
no.
I could see a friend calling Bill and Bill going, what are you doing? I'm helping out at Northland Prep.
You sound just like him.
We went to the 3-4 and kids seemed to respond pretty well.
I could see him being named like a senior defensive assistant for half a season.
If Nick was still coaching, Bill would end up at Alabama at some point.
He'd be an analyst. Okay, Belichick would be a defensive analyst for Alabama.
Wearing the golf shirt and the team picture.
Yep. So, Nick, what do we do for fun here? There doesn't seem to be any place for my boat. Oh, we're going to go to Baumhauer's for wings. Why don't you come with me on the coach's show? I don't do media. No, we're going for the food. Have you met Eli Gold? Hell of a guy.
And besides, our media is not like your media. They ask what we tell them to, and the fans just lap it up no matter what.
Yeah, they're terrified of me.
Miller and Moulton, the starting five, is next right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So what are we thinking for a poll question?
I don't know. Hang on. Let me just check one thing here. Today's National Seth Day. I have to tell him.
National Seth Day, like
Yeah.
like the name Seth.
Yes.
Interesting.
Should we ask the question, should the Super Bowl be something about, like, Dan Patrick wants to change the Super Bowl to a Saturday.
What's more likely, the Super Bowl moving to Saturday or the Super Bowl to be streamed?
Would you pay $99 to watch the Super Bowl?
No.
Okay.
$49.
Okay.
You would pay $99. You wouldn't want to, but you'd pay $99.
I don't think I'll have to in my lifetime.
I don't think so either.
Oof.
I might have to.
Yes.
50 years from now.
Yep.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the top of the hour. David Bearman, an hour from now, is our first guest from Pro Football Network. David Bearman, Seth Everett, Bobby Reagan, some college hoop talk on this hump day. Hey, we've been good so far this year at getting poll questions up before the starting five. We got nothing today. Let me just throw an idea out at you. Super Bowl related. What's more likely to happen first involving the Super Bowl? Pay-per-view? The Super Bowl's played outside the U.S.
Or the Lions make a Super Bowl.
Oh, wow. You are really coming off the top rope, because that sounds nasty. That sounds like you're Well, you're hitting below the belt, quite frankly. That sounds inappropriate.
Can that be my submission for the a-hole moment of the day?
It can be.
Can that be
and,
my
and
my
I'm sure that it
nomination?
is, but this is a little bit of me being ticked off about this. I have.
Wow, you're angry now at the Lions.
Yes.
You don't want to see Niners Chiefs. You wanted Lions Chiefs.
I wanted the M&M Swifty Super Bowl.
Oh boy, so did CBS.
I wanted the double bird against all the ladies out there.
I wanted the two of them to combine for, like a duet or a video that they'd release like right on the eve of the game.
Yes.
Well, so are you really going to go there? Like, because if you're going to do Lions, you got to do Browns. I mean, outside of the 3-year hiatus that they were out of the league, I mean, they're the two franchises that were in existence when we had Super Bowl I, who have still yet been to a Super Bowl. Because the other two are the Texans and the Jags.
So a pay-per-view Super Bowl or a Super Bowl outside the country?
Yes. What do you think happens first? A pay-per-view Super Bowl or a Super Bowl in another country?
And I don't think either of them happen in our lifetime, David.
Well, I'm 58 and you're 54, correct?
Yep.
All right. So just, normal, or quote unquote normal life, I got 15 plus years, you got 20 plus years. Okay. So you don't think it happens in the next generation?
I don't. I think I would bet on the pay-per-view before out of the country.
Let me ask you this real quick. Where would the out of country be? Mexico City?
I
think it would still be North America.
Well, I'm thinking it would have to be not Europe because of the time difference. They're going to want the game to be played. I believe this whole talk, like Dan Patrick apparently went on for hours yesterday about moving the Super Bowl to a Saturday. I cannot believe a man who made his career in network television would ever suggest putting something on a Saturday instead of a Sunday. It's the most laughable thing he's ever said. It's the worst or second worst television day of the week, Saturday. Sunday night is the best television night of the week. Mark, what is the NFL?
It's a television program, and their number one program is the Super Bowl. All we have to do is look at the ratings of the Super Bowl over time and see how important this is in American lexicon. You don't mess with Super Bowl Sunday.
Now, you want to change which Sunday? Do you want to move this back another week and have it be the Sunday leading into President's Day? So there's literally a national holiday the day after the Super Bowl. If I was the NFL, I would do that because it could actually make our event somehow bigger. It would be even a bigger party.
Right. I mean, then kids could actually stay up for the whole game.
And the adults could really go a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs because most of them don't have to get up for work the next day. All right. That's my suggestion. You guys think about it. I got something to do here. 17 minutes before the hour. Time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Hey, we start with the hot young offensive coordinators. Lions OC Ben Johnson staying put. Texans OC Bobby Slowick is staying put. Now, we don't know that he was a finalist for the Washington or Seattle job. We know Ben Johnson was for both. Did you hear, by the way, the Commanders were in the air flying to Detroit to meet with Ben Johnson when he sent them the email/text that said, yeah, I'm staying put. Now, they interviewed, Aaron Glenn when they got to Detroit, the other coordinator with the Lions, but still. Steelers hired former Tennessee offensive coordinator and Falcons head coach Arthur Smith to be their new offensive coordinator. Because what I think you want to do is you want to hire the guy who got fired because he didn't develop a young quarterback and his offense was stagnant. And you want to hire him to be the Steelers offensive coordinator who needs to develop a young quarterback and whose offense is stagnant. No? Am I missing something? I'll tell you what. This whole Dave Canales, you know how well we spoke of him when he was with Tampa?
Right.
We may have to change our tune. He is systematically rating the entire Buccaneers offensive staff. Wide receiver coach Brad Idzik. He's following him to Carolina. Technically, he's going to be offensive coordinator, but he's not calling any of the plays. It's just a title. The offensive line coach, Joe Gilbert, he's coming with him also. Run game coordinator, Harold Goodwin, he's going to Carolina also. Man.
And this surprises you?
It surprises me a little bit because I didn't necessarily think the new offensive coordinator would have to then hire a brand new staff. I thought it would just be somebody new to call the plays. That's all. But so, I mean, they basically have to replace their entire offensive staff in Tampa. All right, final numbers are in. NFC Championship game, highest rated one in 12 years, $56.7 million. You got to go back to the Giants-Niners overtime NFC Championship game to have one that had more people watch. Meanwhile, highest rated AFC Championship game ever, 55.5 million people. Here's the funny thing. You add those two together, and that's how many people will watch the Super Bowl on a Sunday. College football Big 12 schedules released yesterday. UCF's first home game, Dion and the Buffaloes. That sounds like a 50s, 60s band, doesn't it? And now
little doo-wop with Dion and the Buffaloes.
Right. Dion and the Buffaloes. They got their start in the Rocky Mountain region. September 28th is when Dion and Colorado comes to Orlando. Cincy, BYU, Arizona, Utah are the other Big 12 home games for UCF. By the way, the UCF Gator game is first Saturday in October in Gainesville. Kansas, because of stadium construction, they're going to play 2 games at the Kansas City Soccer Stadium, but they're going to play all their Big 12 home games at Arrowhead. But the big news in college football yesterday, the NCAA is coming after Tennessee the same way they're coming after the Gators and the Noles about this whole NIL violations. And apparently in Tennessee's case, it's the worst of them all. There's even talk of lack of institutional control. Boy, the NCAA is just dying to be put out of business, right?
They're trying so hard to remain relevant, David.
This is not the way to do it because these guys will break away before they continue to put up with this. NBA, Halliburton came back and played 22 minutes, had a double-double, but Boston beat Indiana 129-124. You know, give it up for LeBron. He's 39. He played 37 minutes Monday night on the road and played 36 minutes last night in Atlanta. Anthony Davis play last night in Atlanta? No. I mean, LeBron and the Lakers got beat 138-122. It's not like the Lakers play any defense, but still, just saying. Knicks have won 8 in a row. They beat Utah by 15. Toronto snapped the 5-game skid. They won in Chicago by 11. And Embiid played, got hurt. Somebody fell on his knee. Steph at 37. The Warriors beat the Sixers 119-107. College hoops, 2 big upsets. Third-ranked Carolina on the road. Lost at Georgia Tech 74-73. But fifth-ranked Tennessee lost at home to South Carolina 63-59. Gamecocks will be ranked next week. Miami lost at NC State 74-68. Michigan State beat Michigan by 19. Juwan Howard's team is 7-14. How the hell can that happen?
It's tough to do. Non-conference wise, you should have 12 wins just to get off the hop.
They're dead last in the conference now.
Wow. 9th-ranked Marquette won at Villanova by 5. 14th-ranked Illinois won at Ohio State by 12. Oklahoma won by 20 at K-State. Mark's pick of the night, however, Colorado State covered the 2.5 at home. They beat San Diego State 79-71. In golf, Rory McIlroy said, quote, "Let them come back," unquote. Faster we can get the tours back together, the better it is for golf. He then immediately was drug tested. What is going on with Rory? Is this sponsorship driven? Is this European Ryder Cup driven?
Is this being on that board and knowing financially where the PGA Tour is right now?
Woo!
Because they still don't have the that $3 billion's not in house yet, David.
No, and the Saudis were reportedly offering $4. NHL, Columbus shut out St. Louis 1-0. San Jose shut out Seattle 2-0. 3 games tonight, and then we really will have an NHL All-Star break. By the way, back to golf. You know that Nick Dunlop, the amateur? Yeah, he turned pro. He's in the Pebble Beach thing, starts tomorrow. And finally, baseball. The Orioles are getting sold. No more Angelos family. Wow. Talk about taking away the sting of the Ravens loss. I mean, seriously, this is a great piece of news for the Baltimore sports fan. Did you see how much the Orioles are going for?
$1.7 billion?
$1.725 billion. The Mets went for 2.4. That's still the biggest value in baseball. Orioles 1 3/4 basically billion.
30 years ago, the Angelos family bought that team for $193 million. They will sell it for $1.725 billion 30 years later.
Right. Yeah, that seems a pretty good return on the investment, in taking inflation into consideration and everything. David Rubenstein will be the controlling owner. He's a Baltimore native. He heads the Carlyle Group, whichever that is. By the way, Cal Ripken Jr. reportedly part of the new ownership group, which also will go over very well. So the Orioles getting sold. They'll vote on it reportedly next week in Orlando at the owners' meetings, but it will take a few months for the sale to officially go through, maybe by the All-Star break.
Well, and I read it, they get 40% up front, and then when Peter Angelos dies, they get the rest of it.
And I think he's 93.
Right.
So, I don't know. Can you live on 40% up front? That's about $700 million. I mean,
I'd just like to broker the sale, David.
Just, would you lower your commission rate?
Yes.
Okay, I figured you would. And at 9 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So did we like my suggestion for a poll question, or do you guys have something better?
David, I liked it so much I put it up.
Wow. So you had nothing, basically. You're just you brought nothing to the table today, is what you're saying.
From a poll question standpoint, it is sitting here typed. Which do you think will happen first, a pay-per-view Super Bowl or a Super Bowl outside of the U.S.? I did not put the Lions or Browns as a part of it.
Boy, I like it when you're snarky. I like it when you're glass half empty. We can't have both of us be glass half full on the same damn show.
Hey, I can add both.
I really
Whoa.
Making me laugh here.
Sorry. I mean, if I were to add those two, we've got the Lions and the Bears each to make, or Browns to make a Super Bowl, or a Super Bowl outside the U.S., or a pay-per-view Super Bowl. What would you vote for?
Well, I really would play the percentages that the Lions or Browns would make a Super Bowl. They both did just win double-digit games. I think one or both can make a run here.
What percentages do you think you're playing? Because right now they're at 0%.
Well, that's just it. The one's 0 for 58, the other's 0 for 55. I think time is on my side. I keep rolling the dice. Okay, how many times can I roll snake eyes?
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, hop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Which one? Doesn't matter to me.
By the way, Buck Aikman won that one big.
Yes, they did.
That's surprising. I thought Burkhard Olsen would be a lot closer. I'd say the 4 teams. Which one do you guys think is better?
I like the 4 teams.
Okay.
We can do that. The other one, like
tomorrow.
Yeah, or in a week.
We had 50% more votes on the announcer's question than we did on Dan Campbell going for it.
Cleveland, Detroit, Houston, Jacksonville, right?
Yep.
Which of the 4 teams that have not made it to the Super Bowl will make it first? All right, it's up.
Hey, David, for what it's worth, I logged into the website here, and hour 1 from yesterday is posted.
It's weird because when I looked, I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it was posted yesterday because I was looking for something else and saw it posted right away.
It's weird.
If I'm on my phone, I just see the most recent episode.
Yeah, no. It did, and it was our 4, 3, 2, and then it listed one of the hours from Monday was what I
Weird.
had. So that was weird. That's how it was on my phone.
Is there a chance it's because you listened to that hour and it just took it off? Because
Definitely
you listened
not.
to it? That's why I said, is there a chance?
No.
That's weird.
Oh, really interesting question here. These, it's funny. All four of these teams are pretty decent right now. I mean,
Didn't three of them make the playoffs?
Yeah, and the other one missed by a game. I mean, when have we had that?
Records, right?
Right.
So if you're going by which one of those teams is most likely to win their division next year?
No,
I'm just talking through it. Would you give it to Houston or Detroit? Because it's not Cleveland.
No, I'd give it to Detroit because you have two teams in the same division on there.
Right.
Pretty close.
Oh, but also you got 3 AFC teams and 1 NFC, right? The NFC is the easier conference. Looks as if it will be for the foreseeable future.
That's true. I was just wondering because I know you guys are, as am I, high on the future of the NFC North.
Yes, I am.
So I think it's interesting.
I saw a mock draft yesterday, my first one, in which someone was predicting that the Vikings trade all the way up to number 2.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. It's the final day of January. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Another change of plans. I mean, we're changing our tune more than Rory McIlroy is on the show today when it concerns the poll question.
Quick sidebar. January just flew by. Flew.
Now, you made fun of me all last year when I was saying how quickly the year was going. And now you start off 2024.
Because I'm old. As you get old, the years go by more quickly. It's a smaller percentage of your life.
I mean, you work 4 hours a day. You play golf 3 times a week. Okay. Your daughter's listening to Led Zeppelin. She's 9. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I think life's going okay.
No complaints. It's just January seemed to come
Fly
and go
by
really quickly.
All right. Well, listen, we'll throw an extra day in February to try to slow things down.
I know.
Would you like to have had a leap year birthday?
No.
I was going to say. It's like an Olympics, though. I mean, boy, every time you have a birthday, it's a BFD.
Right, but then then your parents are going to have lied to you already. Because they're going to tell you at what age. If there's a leap year baby out there, I need to hear from you because I'd like to know at what point did your parents tell you, yeah, you weren't really born on February the 28th or March 1st.
Excuse me?
Right. You've been lying to me all these years? I was born on a leap year, so I'm only 2?
Why? It might depend on how much money you have when the kid's really young. You know, if you don't have a lot of money, birthday parties cost money. And if you're like, I don't know if we can afford a birthday party this year, we'll just tell him the truth. He was born on the 29th. Okay. We'll celebrate his birthday with the next Summer Olympics. When he hears the theme song on NBC, he knows, hey, it's going to be a big year.
Big year. I'm getting presents this year, baby.
Yep. Getting 4 years worth. By the way, do you buy forward thinking or do you like get the young man or woman, hey, this would have been really big in 2022, but you didn't have a birthday then. But here you go. This is what I wanted to get you.
Yeah, I know we're on the PlayStation 5 now, but here's the PlayStation 3.
Right. All right. Some people think it works better. No, it's like a phone. Some people like to hold on to their own ones.
So we made a change in plans.
Yep. Another change in our poll question. Let's go. This is it, by the way.
It's up. It's posted. Which of the 4 teams that have not made the Super Bowl will make it first? Cleveland, Detroit, Houston, Jacksonville.
Which of the 4 teams that have not made the Super Bowl will make it first? Cleveland, Detroit, Houston, or Jacksonville? Interesting. All right. See, it's probably fool's gold, to buy too much into what just took place. I mean, because
right, 3 of the teams were playoff teams. The other one had a winning record. This is
correct.
As good collectively as these 4 teams have ever been.
All right. I'm going to vote for Detroit, and here's why. Because they're in the NFC.
Yep.
And the other 3 are in the AFC. And we know what that means going forward for the rest of the decade. So in theory, it will be a much easier road for Detroit the rest of this decade. And then, if the 2020s come and go and neither one of the 4, I mean, what can you do? But if you're thinking, all right, the next handful of years or so, I'm going to play the NFC card.
It's exactly why I picked Detroit. And all bets are, if we get to 2030 and none of them have made it, David, all bets are off.
Exactly, because by then the conferences could flip. Because the half the NFC is going to all draft young quarterbacks in the next 2-3 years. So who knows? They could all be studs. So, all right. That's the poll question. By the way, do you know how many franchises have not won the Super Bowl? I mean, out of 32, how many have not won the Super Bowl? Don't try to count. Come on.
I'm just trying to do it in my head quickly. We obviously have the 4 that have never been there.
Right.
12?
Wow. Both showcases. Boom. Right on the money. I don't think I left anybody out here. Minnesota and Detroit from the north. Atlanta and Carolina from the south. Arizona from the west. Everybody else in the NFC has won a Super Bowl. The entire East has won a Super Bowl. Obviously, Green Bay and Chicago have won Super Bowls. Tampa Bay and New Orleans have won Super Bowls. The Niners, the Seahawks, and the Rams have all won Super Bowls. Hell, the Rams won Super Bowls in 2 different cities. Okay, AFC. Bills, only team in the East not to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
I mean, none of us can remember when the Jets won it, but they did. Cincinnati and Cleveland from the north, because Pittsburgh and Baltimore have won. Houston and Jacksonville from the south, and Tennessee from the south. The Colts are the only franchise in that division to have won the Super Bowl. And the Chargers, because the Raiders, the Broncos, and the Chiefs, obviously, have won the Super Bowl. So 5 in the NFC, 7 in the AFC. 3 of the 4 franchises in the AFC South have not won the Super Bowl. Hell, 2 of the 4 haven't even been. And yesterday was the anniversary of Tennessee losing in the Super Bowl by a yard. Think Jeff Fisher would have gone for 2?
No.
I don't. No. Wrong coach.
Wrong era. I mean.
Right. Boy, would that have been something. That would have blown our minds. That was the 99 season. Could you imagine January of 2000, a coach lining up for 2 to win the Super Bowl? Dan Campbell would have done it.
Dan Campbell would have done it. Jeff Fisher would not have done it.
Even though you and I always ask the question, if I can give you one play for the 2-yard line to win or lose the game, be like, line them up, let's go. I know exactly what I'm running. They had Eddie George and everything. But so 12 of the 32, though, that seems like a big number. But then again, I don't want to bore everybody here, but if we went baseball, hockey, basketball, if you come to think of it, probably 40% of all of those leagues have never won the championship also, right? mean, I would certainly think that in the NBA. I would think half the league has not won a championship in the NBA. The NBA is so top heavy. Always has been.
Twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton if you want to compete in this exercise during the commercial breaks, because we now know what David Moulton is doing for the rest of the show.
Well, that is true. Each of the next 3 commercial breaks, I will not be preparing for our guests. I will be going league by league, which franchises have never won the championship. You are 100% correct. My day is done.
The show might be done because we may get into it in every segment when David has the actual results and isn't trying to just pull it out of thin air. We did that once before on this show, going back to when we were doing afternoons in Southwest Florida. And David always had an affinity towards trivia.
Yes.
And doing trivia on the show.
Mm-hmm. I wanted us to do more trivia.
Right.
People liked it.
And so David came up with the trivia questions. And he didn't use this thing called the internet to find the answers.
No.
He used his noggin.
Right. Well, that's a big head.
And here we go. The first day we do trivia, we bring a caller on and get the question, and David tells the person that he's wrong.
Right.
When, in fact, the person was right.
Yes, he was.
And David was wrong.
Correct. Right. And that happened more than once.
That ended trivia on Miller and Moulton.
By like the third time, Mark said, yeah, I know we're supposed to vote 2-0 on everything having to do with this show. Yeah, it's over. It's done. Okay, I'll replace you if you want to do this again. So, yes, I will take my time this time going through every league and every franchise.
Basketball will be the tough one.
Oh, I don't think so. Hell, I mean, it seems as if by court order, I thought only the Lakers or Celtics were allowed to win the title for.
Well, you're probably right, but there's a few in the, I don't know how there's a few in the 50s and 60s that may throw you before.
Well, that's a good point. And some franchises have moved, but so maybe we have to, do we go all time? Like in Super Bowl, it's a Super Bowl era. I mean, technically the Detroit Lions had won a world championship. The Cleveland Browns won the NFL championship in 1964. It was it was 2 years before the Super Bowl era began.
So, David, do the Thunder get credit for the Sonics in 79 or no?
Wow. Technically, I think we have to count it. It's the franchise that moved from Seattle to Oklahoma City. I think we have to count that one.
Because like the NHL was 6 until the 60s. So it's pretty easy. All the original 6 teams have won one.
Yeah, the Rangers tried really hard, though, even to not win them during the original 6 time period.
They did, but they got their one there, and then they got 94.
Right. They got 3 of them by 1940, and then they took a half a century off.
Well, that's but they have theirs.
Yep. But obviously, we can go right through. I mean, the Panthers haven't won one yet. And then, I'm guessing it probably is 40% in all the leagues of franchises that have never won the championship.
And that leads us to our poll question. Which of the 4 teams that have not made the Super Bowl will make it first? Not even win it. Make it first.
Make it. Detroit from the NFC, Cleveland, Houston, Jacksonville from the AFC. 3 of the 4 teams were playoff teams last year. All 4 had winning records.
Early voting, and a lot of people have already checked in. Detroit leading with 48%, Houston 44%, Jacksonville and Cleveland at just 4%.
Damn. People are not buying the Trevor Lawrence.
No.
Buying the CJ Stroud is what
that's what they're buying.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll say right division, soft division, the AFC South. You would think it could come from there. But I like the question.
Play against Mahomes in the playoffs, right? For the next.
That seems to be a problem. This Mahomes guy, he seems as if he is the definition of a roadblock. Miller and Moulton. David Bearman in 25 minutes. Trent Bally and the play of the day is next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
How cold is it there?
50. It'll get. We're going to get the 70 Saturday, apparently.
It's colder here than it is there.
It's 50 right now here.
It's 48 here.
Huh? Computer says it's 50.
All right.
No, the phone says it's 48. Now, I will say it's going to be 62 by noon, but our high today is 64. We may not see 70 for like 2 more weeks. If we don't see it Saturday,
I'm going to play golf in pants on back-to-back days. I just want that to be thrown out.
That is, you talk about sacrifice.
Thank you.
I don't even have my clubs down here yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you can't afford to play for the next 4 months anyway. No. I mean, with what, unless Mark brings you on as a guest.
I can't afford to bring him as a guest at my place during this time, too. You know what we charge for guests? Jesus.
Yuck.
It's like $175 right now.
If I brought my golf clubs with me when I first came down here, my car would have broke down 2 hours before it did because the payload was already unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. All right. I've done baseball in the NBA.
Can I guess the NBA?
I'm
going to guess. I'm just going to take a random guess. I'm going to say 16 franchises have won.
How many have not won?
Have not won. 14.
Lower.
12.
That's the number I have, but one is up for debate.
Which one is that?
Do we count the Atlanta Hawks? Because technically the St. Louis Hawks, I believe, won a title. In the 50s, I thought the St. Louis Hawks won a title. Does that count?
I would count. If we're counting the others, I would count. Like, if we counted the Cincinnati Royals, right? For the Kings? Or no?
See, I wasn't counting the Kings.
Then I wouldn't count the Hawks.
I wouldn't count the Hawks.
Okay, so then I have 12. Indiana, Orlando, Atlanta, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Minnesota, the Clippers, the Kings, Phoenix, New Orleans, Utah, Memphis.
Man, Phoenix. They've been around a while.
Yes, they have.
Same with the Clippers.
Same with Utah.
Yeah. At least Utah had a mini run there. And I guess you could argue the Suns are in the middle of a mini run.
The Suns have had success, lots of success. Hey, Ray Lewis saw someone get killed today in 2000.
Yep, and he kept his mouth shut.
Yep.
I have 11 in the NHL. 5 in baseball, by the way.
5 that have not in baseball?
5 that have not won the World Series in baseball.
Initially, that seems low, but it seems about right, I guess, if you think about it.
I'm trying to figure them out. Rays.
Uh-huh. One more in the American League.
Seattle?
Bingo. Because Seattle hasn't even been.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour. David Bearman, Pro Football Network, in a little more than 15 minutes time. Trent Bally and the play of the day coming up in about a half a dozen minutes. Trent and Mark tortured me about 20 minutes ago when they settled on this as our poll question. And you'll understand why if you haven't heard what the poll question is. The poll question is, there are 4 NFL franchises that have yet to get to the Super Bowl. They are Detroit, Cleveland, Houston, and Jacksonville. That's just get to the Super Bowl. So our poll question is, hey, which one of those 4 is going to get there first? And by the way, me using that voice, that's me included in it. That's so, I'm making fun of myself too. All right. That's our poll question on this hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? All right. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com. All right. But it then led to the, those are the 4 that haven't gotten to the Super Bowl. And then we looked up, there are 12 of the 32 existing franchises that have not won the Super Bowl, which then, of course, led to, well, I wonder how many of the teams in the other sports haven't gotten to the championship or won the championship either.
Those voices right there are directed at Trent and I. They are completely 100% direct. And that's not the case. What it really is that once we went down this rabbit hole, we know that there's one person on this show that can't live until they know the answer to that question.
Right. And I am that rabbit or that animal chasing, and I am just going full speed right into the hole. Deeper I go. Yep. And what am I chasing? I'm chasing that voice. So it's directed at me because you guys have told my day is shot now. All I'm going to do is think about these franchises that either haven't gotten to the championship round or haven't won the championship. That's all I'm going to do.
You're going to have 14 segments that you're going to do alone. You're going to have to go for that drive that we talked about.
Yes. Yeah,
no NBA radio for you today.
No, when I go pick my mom up at the train station, I'm going to do a whole segment on my way there. And unfortunately for my mom, I'm going to do a whole segment on the way back, and she's going to have to listen to it.
David, how many Division I NCAA men's basketball programs have not made the Final Four?
Unbelievable. I'm just
Power 5. Power 5.
I'm just going to stab you in the neck. All right. By the way, For what it's worth, in baseball, there's 5 franchises that have not won the World Series. That's it. So while there's 12 NFL franchises that haven't won the Super Bowl, there's only 5. Now, baseball's been played twice as long, 3 times as long even. But the Rays and Mariners are the 2 in the American League. By now, Texas, they hadn't won it. They won. All the other franchises, Chicago had an 80-something year drought, but they won 2005, never mind winning in 1919. So Tampa Bay and Seattle in the American League. Seattle, by the way, hasn't even gotten to the World Series. Milwaukee.
Right.
See, the Braves won the World Series. The Brewers have not.
Padres.
There you go. Rockies.
Now,
Padres, Rockies, Brewers, Rays have all made the World Series. There's one baseball franchise that hasn't even gotten to the World Series. The Browns, Lions, Jags, Texans of Major League Baseball are the Seattle Mariners. For what it's worth, and Trent, you're the association guy, I've got 12 NBA teams, but technically we might have to cross 2 off the list. Because I've got Atlanta, but the Hawks were in St. Louis, and St. Louis won a title, and I believe the franchise counts it. So I think we have to cross them off the list. And does that also mean that we have to cross Sacramento off the list? Because if you follow their history, they were, before Sacramento, they were in Kansas City, but before Kansas City, weren't they in Cincinnati?
That's when Oscar Robertson won it with him, I believe, in Cincy.
So that
that's a
I know
a claim for the fan base. We got to claim a championship.
2 relocations ago.
Right, 2 relocations and 4 generations ago. But sure, we'll claim it.
Well, but here's my question, which I don't know because I've never been in the arena. Is the banner in the rafters? Like
David, in Atlanta, when I worked because I worked in the Omni.
Right.
And, quick sidebar, we used to break into a gym when I was a kid. We'd set the doors at the high school gym so they didn't close. So in the wintertime, we'd go shoot hoop. And we literally would break into the school, turn the lights on, and play basketball. We never broke anything, never did anything bad. We were there to play hoop. When I'm an adult, I had the keys to the Omni. I could break in the Omni to shoot hoop. I'd call my buddies that we used to break into Swan Valley High School to play basketball. Hey, I just shot hoop at the Omni at 11 o'clock last night, just to let you know. But in the Omni, to my recollection, David, there was no banner for a championship.
All right. Does Google what's the final verdict here? Is it a banner in the rafters or is it Wikipedia?
I think it's got to be banner. Because that means they claim it. Like they're proud of it. They're displaying it.
Does Oklahoma City claim the 79 Sonics?
Oh, wow.
Well, I'm just saying it's the same franchise.
I know, and I think they do.
I think they do also.
I think you've got to – I actually think technically you have to claim the Hawks and the Kings to have a title.
I would agree.
Okay, so then if we take them off the list, we're down to 10 NBA franchises that have not won a title. Correct me if I'm wrong. Indiana, Orlando, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Minnesota. Remember, the Lakers moved to LA. The Timberwolves have never won one. The Clippers, Phoenix, New Orleans, Utah, Memphis.
Sounds right to me.
And for what it's worth, I've got 11 in the NHL that have not hoisted Lord Stanley, with one of them obviously being in Florida.
Well, David, here's the thing that you mentioned about the Super Bowl is we don't say the Lions have never won a championship. We say they've never won a Super Bowl.
Correct. Right. The NFL has a clear line of demarcation, the Super Bowl era. Some then move it a few more years and say since the merger. But most NFL is Super Bowl era, pre-Super Bowl era.
So that's why I think for the NBA, we have to count the Hawks, Sonics, and Kings because they won it wasn't the Larry O'Brien, but they won the NBA Finals.
Right. Because the league wasn't called the NBA until a certain point. But from the moment they referred to themselves as the NBA, it's all considered. Now, there is a merger, NBA-ABA merger.
You'd have to throw the Nets in because they won with Dr. J.
Right, but that doesn't count as an NBA title.
That's where it gets messy. We can't do that.
All right, time to get to it. Trent, time for the Molly Maid play of the day. What do you have for us?
Lots of good college hoops last night. Georgia Tech upset North Carolina, despite a controversial finish, by the way. South Carolina took down Rick Barnes in Tennessee, but a legend and Hall of Famer reached another milestone last night. Tom Izzo welcomed in his biggest rival in search for his 700th career win on his 69th birthday. Spartans with a slow start. They were down 2 at the half to the Michigan Wolverines, but an explosive open to half 2 got Sparty going, including this one that brought the house down.
This place is ready to erupt. Aikens, 3-ball, money! Timeout, Michigan!
Aikens was money. That was just one of 7 threes that Jaden Aikens hit. He had a career-high 23 points. Spartans with a slow start. Ultimately, come back to win it. They outscore the Wolverines by 21 in the second half.
Because the Wolverines suck.
And they cover the 11.5. My favorite. Happy birthday, Tom Izzo. Win number 700. There's your Molly Maid play of the day.
Call Molly Maid right now. 239-774-5839. I mean right now. Wake Steve up and say, I want my house cleaned today. 774-5839, the number for Molly Maid.
Now, we're told the Pacers have their ABA banners hanging in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Sorry, they're ABA banners. They're not NBA banners. Doesn't count.
That didn't seem like a very sincere apology from you. Sorry.
Well,
no, I'm with you. I just thought that was funny.
Would it be sincere if I went, sorry?
It's like the Reese's commercial. Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry. David Bearman, Pro Football Network, next.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
In high school, there was a time where I memorized every single NBA champion and finals MVP. And then I realized that knowledge is pretty useless, even though it's fun to have, but
not for this job.
Yeah, it's true.
You and Felipe doing a podcast together. You and Felipe working for NBA TV.
What are your thoughts on hot pretzels, David?
I like all kinds of pretzels.
So they have at the place we went last night, they bring out, I mean, I'm not joking. Pretzel probably had to be a 12-inch pretzel. Comes on its own stand. It was delicious.
That's awesome. I love that.
Beer, cheese, and mustard.
Hot pretzels are very, very good.
Cheese and mustard? Oh, that place has got it going on.
That, and we had a dozen and a half. My daughter knocking down oysters like they're going out of style.
Ooh.
Just eating. Yeah, nothing like having an expensive taste when you're 9.
I was going to say, blame the parents for that one.
That's her new favorite food, oysters.
Huh. Six months ago, Rory, there has to be consequences to their actions. We can't just let them back in. Today, I think LIV players should be allowed to return to the PGA Tour without punishment. Honestly, come on. Somebody's got to find out what's going on here. By the way, John Fanta's dad died Monday.
Yeah, I saw that. Saw his post.
So, Mark, did you hear any of the Jack Collinsworth Peacock?
I had it on. I was paying so little attention. I was just sitting there talking to my wife and had the game on the background.
I actually think he did a pretty good job. I just thought it was funny because I couldn't get that out of my head that I'm listening to a football guy call a basketball game. David's on. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour, Hump Day edition, final day of January. Thanks so much for being with us. Seth Everett for his weekly visit at the top of the hour. Bobby Reagan, talk a little college hoops. A couple of top 5 teams go down last night, one of them at home. Talk to Reegs about that. But David Bearman, kind enough to join us once again from Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. You can follow David on Twitch, Twix, X, David Bearman, PFN, Bearman, PFN, David Bearman, PFN. David, it's David and Mark. How are you?
You mean to tell me college basketball season started? Wow.
Yeah, we've been educating our audience all week, David, letting them know at what stages the NBA, NHL, and college basketball seasons are at.
I usually pay attention come February, so I'm not there yet. I guess I get another day or two.
Yeah,
you've the last day of January.
Yeah, you've got one more day, David. Then it's time to jump into something else. But in all seriousness, what is it that has your attention right now most? Obviously, the Super Bowls, we got time to talk about that. The games have passed. What's got your eye right now of things in the National Football League?
I'd like to see exactly. I mean, I'm still obviously concentrating on the two teams that are going there. The coaching stuff, I mean, you still, I think yesterday's huge surprise that the Lions offense coordinator didn't go to Washington or Seattle when both of them were highly interested. And here's the rub. The NFL changes all the rules yearly when it comes to interviewing coordinators, interviewing coaches. And those two teams waited for Johnson. They waited for him. And then he pulls the rug out from under them again. We don't know all the details. We don't know what went on to that, why Ben Johnson decided he wanted to stay. He didn't get any extra money out of it as far as we know. But those two teams waited for him and didn't go and interview other people. So, yeah, I'm not blaming him. He's got to do whatever in the best interest of him, his family, his team. Obviously, I don't blame him for wanting to go back and run it back with the Lions as close as they came. And, heck, for all we know, the way that game ended, blowing a 17-point lead, seeing how close they were to the Super Bowl, that he felt like he owed it to his team to come back another year. I had no idea what went into the decision. But that's what has my interest, guys, that, like, who is now going to be the coach for those two franchises who waited for a Johnson or others who they were not allowed to interview because of the extended NFL rules when it comes to teams still alive. So there's only two spots left that we know of. There could be surprises down the line, but that's what has my attention because the coaching cycle always has my attention. But you got teams that waited, and in a situation like Seattle, you didn't have to change coaches. You had a veteran Hall of Fame-ish coach in Pete Carroll. You made the change. You identified a guy, and then he pulled the rug out from under you. So I don't know where they're going to go next. I heard rumors yesterday that the Giants' offensive coordinator was in the mix, which makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. It was one of the most horrific offenses I've ever seen. But that, guys, is what has my attention is the coaching changes right now until we get to the Super Bowl.
There have been some interesting hires historically. I mean, when Mike McCarthy got the Green Bay job, he got it coming off being offensive coordinator of the Niners, and I think they had ranked 31st in offense that year. So for whatever reason, I mean, David, I mean, a lot of this is who you know, who you have a relationship with, who's your reference, no, hire this guy. No, I'm telling you, he'd be really good. I mean, we know why Canales gets the Carolina job because they make Dan Morgan Grand Poobah, and Morgan and Canales spent all those years in Seattle together. I mean, the NFL is very much like everyday society. It's a lot of who you know.
Of course, and you see that with GMs, you see that with coaches, you see that with assistants. We talk about the coaching trees and the Shanahan tree, and everybody knows everybody else and who they bring. And you know that, I know that. But at the end of the day, are you really going to, and again, it depends on who you want as coach, are you really going to tell your fan base that you're hiring a guy who oversaw one of the worst offenses in NFL history? I get what you're saying about McCarthy, but like the Giants were horrifically bad.
Oh, I know.
No matter who the quarterback was.
Well, and the irony there is that reportedly if Kafka comes back as offensive coordinator, Dable's going to take play calling away from him.
Yeah, exactly. So why don't we, give this guy a job? And, listen, you're right. The coaching carousel makes no sense sometimes. And you can go back to the New York Jets hiring Adam Gase as a head coach after an absolute train wreck of a career with the Dolphins. When they hired him, you're thinking, did they pay any attention to what went on the last 3 years with their division rivals? That made no sense. And, of course, it ended the way we expected it to end. But, I mean, it's weird because the process this year has been different than the process in the years in the past. Dallas Robinson, one of our great writers on Pro Football Network, wrote about it last week on ProFootballNetwork.com about how this cycle is different because of the rules and that the teams, and you look no further than the Atlanta Falcons, who interviewed everybody in their mother. Like I declined the call to go down to Atlanta to be the coach because they literally interviewed everybody And it's because the landscape has changed. Like the timing has changed. The amount of coaches that get involved have changed. And he wrote about the reasons for it. And these teams are interviewing more people than ever before and waiting longer than ever before. But some of them, you just scratch your head and say, okay, well, now I couldn't tell you who's going to be the next coach of the Seattle Seahawks right now. No idea.
Do you think Ben Johnson made a mistake? I mean, we were talking about this with a coordinator yesterday. You only get so many opportunities. There's only so many of these jobs. And Kellen Moore was the hot coordinator that was next in line to get a head coaching job at a lot of places. His name's not mentioned for a job. To me, when you get the opportunity, you take it.
I would 100% agree with you. 100% agree. And I respect his decision. I respect what his family wants to do. I respect the fact that he wants to run it back. And we don't really know what went on in that room and why. For all we know, someone in his family, they have to stay there. Who knows what the reasons are? But you're 100% right that if your goal, maybe that's not his goal, but if your goal is to be the head coach in the National Football League, you got to strike while the iron's hot. And it's not hotter than taking the Detroit Lions to within 1/4 of the Super Bowl. No matter how it ended, you were the hot commodity. Teams waited for you. They were going to offer you who knows how much money, and you turn it down. The Lions only can get better by one game, technically two if you win the last game. Like you can't do much better than NFC Championship game for the Detroit Lions. Yeah, maybe next year they win the Super Bowl, but outside of that, chances are the Lions will take a step back, and take a step back, you're not as much of a hot commodity. And you're right. You see Kellen Moore and there's other coaches out there who were hot commodities that have never been mentioned. I mean, look how many jobs Brian Flores interviewed for, and he was as hot as can be because he had a great job with the Minnesota defense. After being a head coach, a fairly successful one, despite the fact that he rubbed people the wrong way, he was a successful head coach. These guys are not going to get the jobs they want. And I mean, Seattle and Washington are two pretty good openings, guys. I mean, Seattle's a team that went into Week 18 with a playoff shot, and Washington has sorry, that's my daughter. Washington has $1 zillion underneath the cap, so and the number 2 pick. So you have really good. It's not like it was the Carolina Panthers calling you. Like that might have been one I turned down. That Carolina Panthers job is not a fun one, and they're going to be in trouble for years to come. But I mean, Seattle and Washington are good jobs that you just turned down. So.
David Bearman, Pro Football Network, ProFootballNetwork.com. Follow him on Twix at David Bearman, Bearman, David Bearman, PFN, David Bearman, PFN. For what it's worth, I think it gets announced later today in Baltimore, or in Washington, the Ravens D coordinator. Look for the Carolina defensive coordinator in Seattle. I have a feeling Dan Quinn's not going to get that one. All right. What are you hearing? Mike Florio threw it out there, but Mike Florio throws a lot of paint on the wall, and a lot of it never dries. But Andy Reid walking away after Vegas, all right, do you think there's anything to that?
I mean, I think there's smoke there. Do I think it's going to happen? No. I think Andy Reid's having way too much fun, and the team is your quarterback's 28 years old, so you can run this back for another 10 years. Now, Andy won't be there for another 10 years. I think it depends on what happens in this game. They win another one, like I'll go out on top as 2-time champ, 3-time champ, a 2-time back-to-back, or do you go for the elusive 3-peat that's never happened? I think when it comes to Andy Reid, he's too much of a competitor to give it up. Now, listen, people aren't just making up retirement rumors, and yes, Floria has thrown stuff against the wall and hopes something sticks, but we have the pre-write written. I'll be honest with you guys. Like we literally have written, is Andy Reid going to retire? And we have it written, Andy Reid retires. Because you got to be prepared in our business. Do I think it's going to happen? No. That doesn't mean him and his family have decided. For all you know, he has health issues. We don't know any of this. I'm not making that up. I'm just saying we don't know. So I personally don't think he retires. I think the Chiefs are in too good of a shape to not want to run it back another 3 or 4 years. Again, you don't know what goes into these decisions with the family. Maybe he's had enough. But when you see things like Bill Belichick wanting to stick around and not having the choice to stick around, I think Andy Reid sticks around as long as he humanly can.
When you look at what Andy Reid and Spags and this staff did this year, is this his best coaching job? I mean, from them to have the season in which everybody was pointing fingers that this team wasn't good enough to make the run they did in the playoffs, how much do you put on that to Andy Reid?
I think it's definitely his best coaching year. I think it's Spags' best coaching year. I think it's Mahomes' best playoff run so far, taking the team that he had in the regular season and taking them to the Super Bowl. We'll get into the Super Bowl either later on this call or next week, but I think they win it all. I think they're just primed in the position they're in, and they know what's at stake. I think they're the better team. I didn't doubt the Chiefs like many other people did. I was constantly taking them. I was losing money on betting on them plenty of times. I think this is their best coaching / quarterback / defensive coordinator job that they've done. It's not their best team. You look at all the Chiefs teams, you even go back and look at some of the Eagles teams that Reid had. This is nowhere near his best team, and yet they're sitting here in the Super Bowl, and I think they win another one.
Tampa Bay's lost basically their entire offensive staff, has followed Canales and gone to Carolina. Is that uncommon, or is that just a combination of things, but Bucs fans shouldn't be concerned?
I mean, I think it's common, as we talked about a few minutes ago, with some of these coaching, who and bringing people with you. You rarely see the entire staff go, but here you have a young guy and a first-time coach who's going to bring the people that he knows with him, because call it what it is. Canales isn't the most experienced guy out there, so he's going to bring people with him. I would be concerned if I was a Bucs fan, because you have a team that has won the division a couple of years in a row, even though you haven't dominated it. You've won with, a 9-win team, and you're losing a lot of people there. Obviously, it's going to depend on who is replaced, but the key is honestly going to be the quarterback. If the quarterback leaves, what are you left with? Because there's a reason why Baker Mayfield ended up being your quarterback to begin with, grabbing him off of the recycled quarterback wire. Who is going to replace him if he leaves? Then you're in trouble. I think if he comes back, again, you have the worst division in football, so they could win it again, but I think the key is bringing Baker back.
There's no doubt, and I think with that comes Mike Evans. I think getting both of them back is far more important than whomever they bring on the offensive coordinator side, but it will all transpire here soon. When you look, and I kind of lost my train of thought there, but you're looking at Miami, and I know you guys just wrote an article on defensive coordinator. It's, after Fangio did a really good job and they let that go, it looks like McDaniel really wants to make a shift and start blitzing this year.
He does, and I think almost more importantly than the system is I think you need someone that is like McDaniel. I mean, like personality-wise. There's been a lot that has been said about Vic Fangio, but at the end of the day, he rubbed the players the wrong way, but he also didn't get along with the coaches either. You had an old school guy versus a new school guy, and we're never going to find out if McDaniel and Fangio were best friends or if they never talked to each other. We'll never find that out, but he needs a guy that can work with the players and work with the guys. And listen, you don't have to have, fancy shoes, cut off capris, and, a great personality running around the field like you're on energy drinks all day like McDaniel is to succeed with the players. But you also can't be 65-year-old curmudgeon who doesn't get along with the players either. So I think, yes, the style is important. And we saw when Fangio blitzed late in the year how good that defense was. They have the corners and the linebackers that are for a blitz-heavy defense. When they didn't blitz, they were terrible. But you also need a personality fit, and culture and personality is important down there, because if you don't have a guy who blends with the players the right way, you just get tone deaf. And all the things I've heard coming out of Miami is that Fangio basically was tone deaf across the board with the coaches and the players, and that's never a good thing. Again, they kept it quiet. Hell, I watch Hard Knocks every week, and you still had no idea that was going on.
Right. He's David Bearman, Pro Football Network, PFN 365 on Twix. Follow David on Twix as well at David Bearman PFN, Bearman, David Bearman PFN. David, safe travels. We'll try to talk with someone from PFN next week if we can.
We'll get you one. We'll be out there. It'll be early, but 4:53 in the morning out there. So set my alarm. Maybe I'll be on.
David Bearman, Pro Football Network. Seth Everett next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning.
Good morning, Seth.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
Not bad. I'm submitting Sports with Friends right this minute.
Oh.
Yeah, I got done a little late, so I didn't want to make a mistake, spell something wrong, you know. I have a funny story about this shirt.
What is that shirt?
It's the Greatest American Hero.
Oh, okay.
I accidentally, and this is really never happens to me, I accidentally hit one click on Amazon and it just came and I didn't want it. And I tried to return it and it refunded the money and said, this is a returnless return. You don't need to send it back.
Ah.
I literally bought this by accident. And then returned it. All right. Show submitted. Hi, David.
Morning, buddy.
Morning.
Tough one for your orange last night.
Yeah, that was rough. We took it on the chin. That's okay. My daughter's obsessed with the McLeod story.
Really?
Oh, she's so interested. She doesn't understand how the girlfriend didn't know and how the girlfriend was with him after knowing. And I have no explanation. I don't know what to say.
Well, I think it would be easy not to know. I mean, first off, he's not going to offer it up. Hey, before we start dating, just want to let you know, I mean, first off, it took 5.5 years for there to be charges.
I know.
I mean, I'm sure.
Well, it's because the London police was too busy trying to cover it up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is hockey in Canada after all.
Yep. Yepers.
Is hockey in Canada bigger than football in America? That's a.
This sounded a little Seinfeld-y.
Well, no.
Who'd you rather be dating, the deaf or the blind? I think I'd like the blind. Come as you are.
Michael in our Twitch chat says your Super Bowl Sunday, Arsenal Liverpool. Is that true?
I know. That morning. Very big game.
Let me see your shirt.
There's a story.
What the heck is it?
It's the greatest American hero.
Oh.
It's exactly. It's so funny you say that because Seth said, I got a story about a shirt. I'm like, what's the shirt?
Yeah.
And he said, Great American Hero. And I went,
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Well, we had to have our next guest on today. Well, first off, it's his day and time in which he comes on the show. But Seth Everett, Sports with Friends Hall of Justice. Follow him on Twix, Seth_Everett, blah, blah, blah. Seth, are you aware today is your day?
That I come on the show?
No. Much bigger than that. Mark.
Today is National Seth Day.
Oh, excellent. Some would say every day is National Seth Day.
Really? They don't even say that in Seth Everett's house.
I don't think they do. I don't think they do. But I'll be Googling that and sending that link to my children.
National Seth Day is celebrated on the January 31st to appreciate Seths throughout the world.
There's a podcast that I listen to, and once a week they pick a day and they do holiday or holiday. Holidays that they think that they should get rid of. This would be a holiday.
There are a lot of them. We stumbled
every
upon
day.
this National Day thing because you're trying to do a poll question for a show, and some days there's just nothing there. And, it's National Peanut Butter Day, and you go creamy or chunky, and you get 5 million votes. Whereas you put a sports question on there, no one gives a damn.
Yep. What's your favorite color? Right. What's your favorite color? You'd get in the old days of callers. The 3 things that you could do what's your favorite color? You could do Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame, or Casey Martin should drive a golf cart.
Yes.
You were gold for calls.
Nice.
If you had nothing, it's the laziest sports radio you could do, but it worked every time.
Yes, it did. And I'm jotting notes because June and July are coming up, and we're still having to do 4 hours.
I still think that Casey Martin, he overstepped. He overstepped his bounds.
All right, Jack. All right. By the way, I just thought of something. We have a rule on the show in which at a certain age, you're not allowed to wear a jersey anymore unless you're a woman. Then
they don't apply to women.
Right. Doesn't apply to
Oh, I
women.
see.
If you're a certain age of a man, okay, and then you're not allowed to wear a jersey anymore, it just, to us, looks and feels inappropriate. You need to get a life. Okay. You, however, I mean, you
exception?
might break out some devil stuff. I get it. You're nuts. Okay, but you wear a lot of superhero stuff.
Yeah.
And you wear it out in public.
Oh yeah.
Should the same rules apply to you with superhero stuff?
No, because and I never talk about the audience, but I do a superhero podcast that has over 35,000 listeners. Somebody likes this stuff. And when I go out in public wearing one of these shirts, I get cool shirt. I get that all the time. Lately, though, it's every time I wear an Arsenal shirt. That brings out the wackadoos all the time.
So you get more feedback about Arsenal than you do like Greatest American Hero.
Yes. Yeah, easily.
Huh.
These days, in the 2024s.
Right, that's these days. Thanks.
That's these days.
Appreciate that.
What is it about the Arsenal shirt that brings out the crazy, Seth?
The amount of passion for that team is remarkable, and it dwarfs any fan base in America. Dwarfs. It is global. They have multiple millions of followers no matter where they go.
Hold on a second. You think Arsenal's more popular than the Dallas Cowboys?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's not because I'm an Arsenal fan. You want to use Tottenham or any one of them, but Arsenal is a global brand that dwarfs.
You don't think the Cowboys are global?
They are. Not as big. Definitely not as big.
Okay. Now I'm curious.
I'd love some empirical data to back that up, but yeah.
Well, no. I mean, this is a gut feeling. Obviously, like if Arsenal were to be sold, is that a fair enough? Because like the Cowboys would get at least $10 billion. If the Cowboys went on the market, the Cowboys would get at least $10 billion.
Yeah.
Would Arsenal couldn't get $10 billion?
I think they could.
Wow.
Don't forget it would be converted and all that stuff, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know this going in. It is remarkable. Remember, just the United States rights. In the United States alone, NBC paid more for the Premier League than ESPN and Warner Brothers Turner did combined
for the NHL.
For the NHL.
Right.
So that's just America. In Europe, in Africa, in Asia, it is massive. And I didn't realize the scope. I was bummed because most of the teams that I follow me on Twitter. Arsenal, they don't know. I am a speck on their radar. Getting an Arsenal player, I've been trying to get an Arsenal player because they take these long international breaks. They won't return. The PR people won't even acknowledge that they read my email. It's remarkable.
Does this affect your? And I'm being serious when I ask this. Has this affected your fandom at all? Because
no,
you said you're pretty well connected in North American sports. You know a lot of people. You've been doing this a long time. Your emails get returned.
Yeah. It's been a challenge. It's been a real challenge. Trying to do anything Premier League or anything Arsenal has been very, very challenged. There's a reporter who covers Arsenal for The Athletic named Amy Lawrence. And I went to a college with a CBS Sports Radio host named Amy Lawrence. I've had this idea of doing 2 straight weeks of Amy Lawrence on the podcast. I think that'd be hilarious. And this Amy Lawrence is too busy. She's big time.
The Amy Lawrence who covers Arsenal is too busy.
Right. The CBS one, she's a lovely lady.
Right. She recorded this afternoon. Right.
right. If I had to. But having her without the Arsenal person just doesn't have the same cachet.
All right. Seth Everett, Sports with Friends Hall of Justice. By the way, what is the name of the podcast with 35,000 listeners?
The Hall of Justice?
Oh, I thought it was something different. You made it sound as if you did a different podcast.
Oh, 2
At least that's how I took it.
Wow. I think that would be against the rules.
Hall of Justice Sports with Friends. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Seth_Everett. All right. By the way, the insight you gave us a couple of weeks ago, the industry is backing you up. We were of the belief that Netflix getting in the whole WWE was going to be them more than dipping their toes. They might even cannonball into live sports. And you went, au contraire, mon frere. This is scripted programming. This might as well be one of their, the Lincoln Lawyer for.
It's the perfect, it's the
right.
perfect storm for them to do live because they know how it's going to end. They can control the narrative, and that's important for them. I don't think Netflix is ready in their mind. I'm sure they can, but I don't think they're ready to start saying, "Hey, the Milwaukee Bucks are going to play the Lakers, and it'll be on Netflix." I don't think they're ready for that.
And Seth, I had my first negative streaming experience last night. Now, it might have just been my internet because I've cut the cord. I'm YouTube TV for football. I had to make that move. I've got my Peacock subscription, and I'm watching college hoop last night on Peacock, and it was the worst stream quality that I've faced. Glitches, things that I've not had happen, and it made it turns me off to Peacock. Are you hearing things of any of the streaming services having problems? Because it's the first problem I've had watching any game, and I'm guessing it might have been just on my end. But then talking to my producer this morning, he's like, "No, one of my buddies in Michigan was having similar issues last night."
Yeah, I'm pretty critical of the interfaces on these apps. My argument is, and it's very simple: you've seen Netflix, you've seen how they work. Copy their code. Do exactly what they do and just use your content. That applies to Max, Paramount, Peacock, Apple TV, all of these. They all have different little nuances. My complaint with Peacock is I watched Arsenal yesterday beat Nottingham Forest, and I left it on, and all of a sudden Peacock decided to play me the new Jesse L. Martin NBC show that I'd have no idea. And now I'm getting alerts on my phone saying there's a new episode of the Jesse L. Martin show. I never watched it. I never planned it. I just walked away from my computer when the Arsenal game ended, and I never clicked it off. And now Peacock thinks I'm watching, Hawaii Five-0 remakes or whatever.
All right. And this off subject, and we've got like 2 minutes, but don't you think coming up in a week is like the last gasp for network television? Because of the writer's strike, there's been almost no original programming in the fall, and it's all geared up. Some networks are just unveiling it. CBS is unveiling theirs beginning the day after the Super Bowl. But a lot of original programming on network television has been condensed, and it's going to run February through May. Original episodes all in a row for 16, 18 weeks. Isn't this kind of like the last gasp of network programming, if you know what I mean, Seth?
Well, the impact of the strike, what I kept saying during the strike, if you remember, I kept saying these streaming services are premiering a ton. There was a ton of television coming out, and I would have held some stuff because they see that nothing was made last year. So now they don't have anything to write. I never understood that. I think what these streaming services are counting on is that you'll actually watch baseball.
Wow.
I knew we only had 2 minutes, so I had to give a quick answer.
Well, but that stops us in our tracks there. That actually works. So no, seriously.
If there's nothing else on, sure.
All right.
The Sports with Friends. What do you got, Seth?
Sports with Friends. Longtime NFL reporter / author. Gary Myers has a really interesting book about the New York Giants and life after football and CTE and all that stuff. We also talk about the Super Bowl matchup and the Taylor Swift effect on Sports with Friends. And then Hall of Justice is, Jim Krieg, who is the writer of the new DC animated film Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's part 1. There's a 3-part trilogy, and Jim Krieg wrote all 3. This one talks about part 1.
Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. Podcast people listen to. Follow him on Twix. at Seth_Everett. Seth, enjoy National Seth Day. And we'll talk next week. Bobby Reagan in 25
Hello, friends and
minutes.
family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
All right. So the NFL has 4 teams that have never been to the Super Bowl, 12 teams that have never won it.
Somebody texted our show and said, by the way, that they're trying to say that your NBA was off, but I don't really care.
Okay.
But they didn't say who it was. That was the other part of it. So I'm like, I don't really.
Okay. I mean, I went team by team. 10 NBA teams who have never won it.
Right.
5 who have never been to the finals. Charlotte, the Timberwolves, the Clippers, the Pelicans, and Memphis.
The Clippers. Wow. I mean, they've
Well,
been around a
they
long
were-
time.
Well, they started as the Buffalo Braves. Then they were San Diego. I mean, they've been in Los Angeles for 35 years, but they've been bad, most of them.
Yeah. That just fascinates me. Los Angeles team that's never been to the finals.
NHL, I got 5 franchises that have never been to the finals.
Arizona.
11 who haven't won it. The 5 who have never been: Columbus, Winnipeg, Arizona, the Wild, and the Kraken. the 11 who haven't won it, you add to those 5, Florida, Buffalo, Ottawa, Nashville, Vancouver, San Jose. People forget the Anaheim Ducks won this cup in 07.
Right.
They beat Ottawa.
How many NBA? This guy says 17 NBA teams have not won.
I've got 10. Okay. Here. Standings. Boston, Milwaukee, the Knicks, the Cavs, the Sixers. Okay. They've all won.
Right.
Okay. Indiana's never won. They've been, they haven't won.
Right.
Heat, obviously. Orlando's been, but hasn't won. Okay. Bulls, Hawks. Now,
We're counting them.
We're counting them. Brooklyn, they've been. They were the New Jersey Nets. They've been. Okay. They haven't won. The Raptors have won. Charlotte's never been. The Wizards were the Bullets. They won the title in 78.
Right.
And the Pistons, obviously. Out west, Timberwolves. Okay, never been, never won. Denver, obviously. Oklahoma City. We're counting the Sonics, right?
Yeah.
Clippers. Okay, if we're counting Sacramento Kings, we got to count the Cincinnati Royals, right?
Yep.
Phoenix has never won. Dallas has won, obviously. New Orleans hasn't won. Lakers, Utah hasn't won. Houston's won. Golden State's won. Portland's won. San Antonio's won. Memphis haven't won. So anyway, baseball only has one franchise that hasn't been.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Bobby Reagan covers college hoops for Barstool. He'll join us in a little more than 15 minutes' time. 2 top 5 teams lost last night. 1 at home. It's been a fun season so far. I know most of you haven't paid attention. It's been fun. UConn's number 1, Purdue number 2 on the men's side. Carolina Duke play Saturday. They both have been on fire until Carolina got beaten in Atlanta by Georgia Tech last night. That was a foul, by the way. Final seconds drive down the left side of the lane. That was a foul. You got to call that. I know, final seconds. That was a foul. The Carolina kid should have gone to the line shot too. Down 1. That was a foul. But our poll question, it's not bad, by the way, for Super Bowl, pre-Super Bowl week. You got 4 franchises who have never been to the Super Bowl. Never been. Detroit, Cleveland, Jacksonville, Houston. Which one of the 4 will go, not win, just get to the Super Bowl first? That's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com.
And by the way, if you want to get into college basketball, if you're ready to start and you're not quite ready, Saturday's the day to do it. We'll talk more about this as the week goes on, but there is all 3 I think ESPN triple header. Houston and Kansas, the 4:00 game. Number 4 against number 8. 6:30, you got Duke and Carolina. And then Kentucky and Tennessee is the late game at like 8:30.
Well, and help me out here. Early, even before Houston, Kansas. I mean, isn't it UConn and St. John's?
UConn and St. John's, yeah.
At the Garden, Pitino and UConn, and Pitino's kind of picked a fight with Hurley and UConn, so this is the beginning of a little thing that they're going to have. So, trust me, they're fired up in New York. Biggest St. John's game at the Garden in a long time. Be careful what you wish for, St. John's.
Yeah, I don't know if I like our philosophy about, the home team the home underdog in that one because
I'm not
they
sure.
picked a little bit of a fight.
They did, and they thought because they went to stores and only lost by like 3 or 4 earlier that they can really play with them. Yeah, UConn was missing like their big fella for that game. They ain't gonna be missing him Saturday. We wondered how the NFL compares to the other big 3 team sports in this country. 4 teams who have never even appeared in the Super Bowl. We have one baseball team that has not appeared in the World Series, one active franchise. That's Seattle. Texas, they hadn't won. They were on the list of teams that had not won. Obviously, they took care of that. There are 5 franchises in baseball that have not won the World Series, Rays being one of them. But there's one franchise that is the Detroit Lions, Cleveland Browns, if you will, of Major League Baseball, and that's the Seattle Mariners. The number that we have for both the NBA and the NHL, by the way, is 5. 5 existing franchises that have never been to their respective finals. Mark, correct me if I'm wrong. Charlotte, the Timberwolves, the Clippers, you can go all the way back to when they were the Buffalo Braves in the 70s, the New Orleans Pelicans, and the Memphis Grizzlies. Those are the 5 that have not even gotten to the NBA Finals. Indiana, Orlando, Brooklyn, remember they were in Jersey, made it back-to-back years. All right. Phoenix, Utah, none of them have banners, but they've been to the finals. And in the NHL.
And just quickly in the NBA, Oklahoma City, their franchises won.
Yeah, Seattle. Right.
Atlanta, their franchises is one. St. Louis.
Yeah, they're St. Louis Hawks in the 50s. Right.
In Sacramento.
That's the one that most all of us would not get. Sacramento goes all the way back to being the Cincinnati Royals?
Royals.
And the Big O, and we don't mean Orlando Alcigari. So now in hockey, you have 5 franchises that have never even been to the Stanley Cup Finals. You have 11 who haven't hoisted the cup, including the Florida Panthers. But you have 5 that hadn't even been to the finals. Columbus, Winnipeg, Arizona, the Minnesota Wild. This franchise has not. These are not the North Stars. And the Kraken. They're the 5 who haven't even gone. There's 11 total who don't have a banner. Vancouver, San Jose, Nashville, Ottawa, Buffalo, and the Panthers are the others who have been to the finals but haven't skated with Lord Stanley.
That's right. The Anaheim Ducks have won the Stanley Cup.
They beat the Ottawa Senators, in fact, in the finals. And let me tell you, 37 people in America watched. That series set back the NHL, and it was 2 years removed from the lockout, too. It was as if the sport was still locked out.
Got that right. You couldn't draw up.
Woo.
In sport, I don't think you could draw up a worse final than that.
Made the New Jersey Anaheim final of 2003 look like a barn burner. Ottawa.
Maybe Charlotte, Oklahoma City in the NBA would have a similar appeal.
Wow.
I feel like the Thunder have a little bit more traction than you're giving them credit for.
I just trying to pick middle of the country.
Charlotte.
I was trying to. Yeah. I mean, you know what? You're right. Charlotte, Sacramento.
Charlotte, Utah. Oh, Sacramento's a good one. They got a fun team, but yeah, it
Charlotte, Sacramento is almost the equivalent of that.
No one would watch. That would be tough.
And that's the crazy thing. Yeah, the NFL is dependent on certain, it gets better numbers if certain teams are in the Super Bowl. But you could pick the smallest market, any of these franchises that we're talking about out of these 4. I mean, the proof was in the pudding. Here's Detroit, who's never been to one, and the highest rated NFL game in 12 years comes on television. That's not a Super Bowl.
And most TV people feel that a Lions Chiefs Super Bowl would have rated better than what the current one's going to rate, even though it's a rematch from 4 years earlier. But maybe I'm the only one that found it interesting, but the NFL actually has the most current franchises who have not won their championship. Now, you could argue maybe it's because the NFL's been around the shortest period of time. You know, we're only counting the Super Bowl era that started in the mid-'60s. The NBA, you know, has been around 85, 90 years. You know, we all know NHL goes back 100 years and baseball goes back over 150.
David, I think if nothing else, that speaks to the parity of the NFL, because you talk about how hard it is to put together a run, 5 years where you have a window. It's usually a year in, year out basis in the NFL.
But if you think about 12 out of 32, Trent, I mean, you know, quick math. I mean, that's 38% of the NFL franchises have not won the Super Bowl. And, you know, Vikings, Lions, Falcons, Panthers, Cardinals, Bills, Bengals, Browns, Texans, Jags, Titans, Chargers. Almost all have had moments. But that's a lot of fan bases still looking for that one parade, Mark. Just give me one.
Yeah, it's over a third of the league. That's a
pretty
damn significant number.
The Niners are looking for their first in 30 years.
Yes. Even though they've been to, what, 8, 9 conference championship games in that time? Bobby Reagan. Let's talk some college hoops with Barstool Reags next.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to know my friends. Diamond District.
Purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
All right, Johnny Yo, the Minnesota Wild are not the Stars franchise. It's not city, it's franchise. The Stars went to Dallas.
And Baltimore did not retain rights of the Browns franchise when they moved to Baltimore.
Right. The Ravens are their own franchise. They began in 1996. The Browns started whenever they started, stopped in 95, started again in 99.
And they got to retain all their history, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
even though it's technically that was part of the agreement, right? That was like part of their
Exactly right.
So the Ravens are their own franchise. The Browns are their own franchise.
Mello, are you a Dayton fan?
So Johnny Yo, the Wild have not been to the Stanley Cup Finals. And yes, the North Stars lost to the Islanders in 81 and the Penguins in 91 before winning it in Dallas in 99. But Brett Hull's skate was in the crease. Yep. It is the one moment in sports in the last 30 years that Mark Miller has harped on more than any other on this show. Whenever we're bringing up like controversial championships and what have you. And he will say, hated the rule, thought it was stupid, hated it all year. But they called it all year. And then on the final goal of the season, they didn't call it.
It'll never make sense to me. Not to mention, I don't like Brett Hull.
And I did, and I was rooting for the Stars because of it. But that goal should have been waved off.
What's the best Stanley Cup final you ever saw? Or your favorite?
Well, I mean, you know, I'm
You're
going to be
Snidey folk.
biased, obviously, but it was actually an excellent final.
It was a great final.
I got to say, Edmonton and the Flyers in '87 was amazing. The Rangers Canucks final was really good.
Really good.
In '94.
Vancouver hit a crossbar and coming down to tie that.
They hit two posts in the final 8 minutes of regulation. Kevin Lowe hit a crossbar for the Rangers. That series, there was a scrum in front of the net with 2.5 minutes to go, and the puck just got on edge and rolled wide. Or Vancouver,
I mean, it was a heartbreaker. That Wings Penn series that the Pens win was a great series.
Yes, 09. Yes.
Bobby is locked and loaded.
You know, the Tampa-Calgary series in 04 was tremendous.
Was.
Game 6 goes overtime, and Game 7 was a one-goal game. That was an excellent series. Tampa going on the road, San Luis to stave off elimination.
Okay, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, till the Diamond District bonus hour kicks in. Final segment along the network, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Bobby Regan's kind enough to join us. He covers college hoops for Barstool, and you can follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Barstool Reags, R-E-A-G-S, Barstool Reags. Bobby, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time once again. How are you?
Good, guys. How are you?
Well, we are doing well. First question in our Twitch chat room. What do you think of Dayton? I mean, we'll get to the Blue Bloods in a moment. Flyers are ranked, but they're not the best team in the A-10 right now. What do you think of Dayton?
Yeah, I mean, Dayton's good. Dayton's really good. It's they're not 2020 good when they had Obi and obviously the tournament got canceled and they were going to be a 1 seed. But this is a team that if they made a Final Four, I would at this point I'd be like, okay, I guess we should have saw it coming at some point. Now I'm not saying they're going to make it that far, but they have wins over LSU, St. John's, only one loss in the A-10, which wasn't expected. You know, Houston and Northwestern are their only non-conference losses. Deron Holmes, the big guy, is really, really good. They are probably, I don't know. I hate calling them a mid-major because they're not, but they're probably one of the best or second best of that. Throw in the Mountain West, A-10, West, WCC type group.
We've had a long-standing opinion on this show that home court advantage is no greater in any sport than it is in college hoop. But how do you explain Tennessee losing at home? How are they pulling March numbers in late January, if you know what I mean?
Well, because Rick Barnes is still their head coach.
There you go.
Should we ever be surprised that Tennessee offense just doesn't look great? The Dalton Connect, he's really good, but guess what? You got to have other guys score more than what the rest of the team combined, I think, for 34 points last night, right? What they score, 64? Whatever it was.
Yeah.
One guy scored basically half their points, and they lost at home. That's why I will never, and I know we said this about Scott Drew and Tony Bennett, I will just never, ever, ever trust Rick Barnes. How can you?
Well, and obviously the same question is going to be asked of Matt Painter and Purdue. The guards were freshmen last year, but they also added a little bit. I think they're a little more athletic in the backcourt this year, but, are we going to jump on this Purdue team, or are we still come March going to say, sorry, got to prove it?
Yeah, so it's a little different with me for Painter because, I mean, he was one of the greatest plays we've ever seen away from making a Final Four when Virginia tied the game in regulation in the Elite Eight on a missed free throw, chucking a ball full court, and then making a shot. So Painter's, don't get me wrong, you lose to a 15, a 16, a 13. He's also had some horrendous luck. I trust Matt Painter way more than I trust Rick Barnes. And I do think this Purdue team's a little different. I really like the kid Lance Jones that they brought in. I think he's a game changer. Obviously, Edie's still a monster. Braden Smith has really taken a jump from freshman to sophomore year. They're easily one of the 3 best teams in the country. I don't trust Matt Painter not nearly as much as we've talked about with Barnes.
How wide open is this year? How many, at this point, are there a dozen teams you think can win the tournament? Is there 6 teams you can win the tournament? I mean, I know as we start getting into conference play, you'll whittle that down, but how wide open is it at this point?
Yeah, I think the number's 10 to 12, somewhere around there. You go down the list, and if you say, would you be surprised, even if we, take jokes out of it, of who would win, 6 games in a row? And ultimately, I think I did with Titus, and we came down to Houston, Purdue, UConn, Arizona, Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, Auburn. So right there's 9, 8. I think Marquette's a name that could be on there. It's right around 10, but it does feel, once we hit February 1st, I always think that we start to get, all right, here are the X amount of teams versus everybody else, and it feels like after Saturday, because Saturday and Sunday are a loaded slate, I think we're going to start hearing it's Houston, Purdue, and UConn versus everyone else.
He's Bobby Reagan, covers college hoops for Barstool. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Barstool Regs. How about the grease fires? Michigan, UCLA, USC. I mean, it's not a grease fire, but this is the worst Gonzaga team in 25 years. I mean, there have been some major disappointments this year.
Yeah. I mean, so USC battling a lot of injuries. So they're, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're still a mess, but a little different than UCLA and Michigan State. Listen, has Michigan, like, we need to stop giving Tom Izzo the benefit of the doubt. It's one that I will die on this crusade more than anything else in my life, probably. Why do we blindly sit there and scream that Tom Izzo will figure it out? Tom Izzo will figure it out. I know, and then January, February, Izzo, April. The dude's won one title. Like, I'm sorry, but he's been around for 20, 30 years, one title. Why are we surprised that a man who refuses to change and screams about how the game's being played is going to adapt and coach better?
I don't know. And I'm a Michigan State alum, and I have the utmost respect for Izzo. My producer, young Trent, who's 24 and a Michigan State alum, he's over there laughing as I'm staring him down as it's going on, because we've had this conversation off air many a time. And that led me, Riggs, to where I wanted to go next, is because, you know, one of the things that I don't know if you realize, but I bonded with you on was our hatred of Coach K. So I'm wondering in today's, because when you lose some of that hatred, some of the fun goes away for guys like us. When you don't have someone to hate, sometimes it's not as much fun. Who do you hate these days?
So Shire, what he said after the Clemson game, and it lit my switch again of, it's okay, I hate Duke with a passion. Because he said, like, oh, I could complain about Clemson pushing us in the back after you were gifted a call at home to win against Clemson. Sean Shire, I hate you. It's hard to hate Louisville. It really is. I know I'm supposed to, but I just laugh at them. Like, it's watching, you know what? Louisville's like putting on the King of Queens or Modern Family, just one of those shows that you know what's going to happen. It's mindless TV. It's comforting TV, and you can just laugh for an hour at a time. That's Louisville basketball. Indiana, they stink, but I still hate them. Like, it is hard. Like, my now thing is, I think it might be Izzo, as weird as it sounds, because I just want to have honest conversations about why Michigan State is not where they should be, especially a team this year.
They were preseason top 5. He won't play as freshman. And he's got more NIL money than he's ever had in his life, and he's not doing it right. I'm sorry.
Yep, and he doesn't. He could run, like, his team could be awesome. They could run a very, very modern offense, and there's a reason they're shooting, you know, they're 312th in the country on 3-point attempts. Like, that can't happen. Not when you look at what they have, and you could run a really, really good lineup of Walker and Hogard and Aikens, and then pick your poison between, you know, Xavier Booker and Cohen Carr. Like, that would be, if they ran that lineup, you're looking at probably top 15 in the country.
Well, heck, preseason top 5, I would like to think so. It's been a good year for a lot of blue bloods, though. I mean, you mentioned Indiana, obviously scuffling a bit, although they beat Iowa last night, but you have to count UConn as a blue blood. Carolina, Duke, Kansas, Kentucky. I mean, you know, a lot of blue bloods are doing well this year. That would seem, Bobby, good for the sport.
Yeah, it is. It is. And, you know, like you said, you have UConn, and then it's the secondary teams, right? The not blue bloods, but not, you know, they do matter in the sport, which are the Arizonas,
Wisconsin's.
Yeah, like maybe Wisconsin you could throw in there. Houston, you could probably throw in there. Purdue, you might be able to throw in there. That's, you know, tier 2, tier 3 type programs when you're ranking whatever. But it is, you have UConn, which, you know, first back-to-back potentially since Florida. That's a storyline. UNC, I know they lost last night. People are ready to declare them a national title, you know, winner all of a sudden. And then obviously Kentucky and Kansas are there. So the fact that you do have 4 of the, let's say, 7 true blue bloods in the country as top 20 teams, that's important for the sport.
Anybody at this point that you think's underrated? Florida Atlantic obviously got to a Final Four. They brought everybody back. They've hovered. They've different year. They're taking everybody's best game. They're not sneaking up on anybody.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be Florida Atlantic again because they will not be able to sneak up on anyone. But is there someone else out there that you think could sneak up on some teams?
Man, I would have said South Carolina is the answer, but when you go and beat Tennessee, they're not underrated anymore. It might be one of those Mountain West teams. San Diego State made the final, the title game last year. New Mexico's really, really good. If you haven't watched New Mexico play and you're up late one night, I highly, highly recommend it. Plus, the Mountain West is just awesome this year. But they have a group of guys, Jalen House, Jamal Mashburn Jr. Obviously, that name is familiar for everybody. The kid from Iona transferred there, Nelly Jr. Joseph. JT Toppin. They have a bunch of really, really fun players, and they're coached by, Pitino's son. They're good. Like they are, what are they, 18-3? Their only losses are St. Mary's, Colorado State, and UNLV. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them make a run. They play fast. They play like what you'd expect a Pitino coach team plays like. I think one of those Mountain West teams do make a run again. New Mexico, Colorado State, San Diego State again, and then Indiana State. Indiana State's another really, really good mid-major that if they're playing second weekend, I would not be surprised because Josh Schertz is one of the best coaches in the country.
Oh, and how great would that be? Obviously, 45 years later. Yeah. In this state, FAU is the only men's or women's team that is ranked. Right now, you're handing out bids. Canes and Gators. How many between the two?
0. I mean, as of right now, 0. Miami they both could get there. Obviously, Florida has a big game tonight. Kentucky, you win that matters. Miami, they won last night, correct?
No, they lost. They lost at NC State.
Yeah, so that's one. Oh, they lost. That's right. Jeez. I don't know how you give Miami a bid right now.
No, we're with you. We're with you. We've seen metrics and, people doing the brackets and last four in. We're with you. We think they're both out.
I don't know how.
Right now.
Yeah, I mean, they still have chances, right? They still have 2 games against Carolina. They have a game at Virginia, 1 game, a home game against Duke. You got to win 2 of those and then make a run in the ACC tournament. I just don't know how you look at a team that, and frankly, if you lose to Louisville at home, you should be automatically disqualified. So I just don't know. Like, how do you look at that, what they've done? And don't get me wrong, I think they're really good when you look at their roster. But when you look at, in terms of tournament bids, you look at their body of work, how do you look at that and be like, oh, no, they deserve it?
All right, pick one. You can only watch one game Saturday. UConn St. John's at noon at the Garden. They're obviously fired up. You got Houston, Kansas at 4. You got Duke, Carolina at 6:30. You got Tennessee, Kentucky at 8:30. Of the 4, which one are you most fired up for?
So the Kentucky fan of me is obviously picking Tennessee, Kentucky. But if I was a neutral observer with no ties to schools, I would probably say Houston, Kansas. Because I think if Houston goes to Lawrence and wins that game, 2 things happen. One, the Big 12 race for Kansas is almost dead, which is crazy to say because all they ever do is win the Big 12. 2, Houston solidifies itself as one of the 3 best teams in the country, arguably the best team, close to locking a 1 seed. And we start getting is it Houston, UConn, and Purdue against everybody else? Who's the 4th 1 seed? So that's why I think Houston, Kansas is probably the most intriguing one there.
4 o'clock on ESPN, by the way, on Saturday. Bobby, as always, you're very busy. We appreciate you making time for us. Hopefully we can catch up again before the conference tournaments.
Absolutely. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks, Bobby Reagan of Barstool. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Barstool Reags, R-E-A-G-S, Barstool Reags.
Boy, Trent, it's been a tough couple of days for you. First, your Lions lose, and then we bring Barstool Riggs on and he destroys your Spartans.
Hey, I can take it. That was great college hoops talk, though, all things considered.
Miller and Moulton along the network. Have a great rest of your day. The Diamond District Bonus Hour is next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornungs, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, like I said, Mark, my brother and I have been huge. We're just huge college basketball fans. So my older brother's he loves Barstool. Like that's just he loves Barstool. So he likes Riggs. And he's a big MSU fan. And it's just, I mean, you can't really come back with a whole lot other than more times than not, he does figure it out based on, it's different this year because of the preseason expectations.
Yep.
But in years past, like the team that was supposed to miss the tournament in 2021, and they were dead to rights.
No, but his point on the offense is apparent because what's the David? What's the number? You got to score 75 a game? I can't hear you. Do you have his mic on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Scared
me.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, the stat lately is, and the Virginia team that won it was really close, but you have to average 75 points a game.
And Michigan State doesn't have an offense that he doesn't want to play that style of game.
Well, and everything that you said,
is Izzo and Dabo Swinney the same guy right now? That they're both not willing to play the modern game.
Yeah.
Tom will take transfers, though. That's the only difference. Tom said no, because he was taking grad transfers forever.
Yep. Hauser was a grad transfer. Not a grad transfer, but he was a transfer. I think he did 2 years at Marquette.
Name me the Michigan State player who's in the NBA who was better in college?
I can't.
Who was better in college
Than he was
Better
in the pros.
college.
Jaren Jackson probably was.
No.
You don't think so?
No. He didn't play him. He didn't play. They lost the damn game in the tournament, and he's got him sitting on the goddamn bench.
That was bad. But
No, he was not. He didn't play him. He doesn't play freshmen. Then they go to the league and they're flipping all-stars.
You went number 2 overall.
Right. And he
and he wouldn't play him.
Michigan State. And he wouldn't play him.
And see, if guys were staying 3-4 years, you could justify maybe not playing them his first year, but hell, when you got 1 to 2 year guys, you got to play them.
Denzel Valentine is an answer there because he went lottery, but he was a National Player of the Year.
And then who's the other one that was
Cassius Winston.
No, I'm thinking, sorry, is it Payne? Not Payne.
Adrian Payne.
No.
Gary Harris.
Harris.
Yeah. And he's a good NBA pro.
But he was a great collegiate.
Yeah, he was. Miles Bridges,
but our point is, now granted, the NBA game is very different, but these guys seem to be much better offensive players at the higher level than at the lower level.
I gotcha. No, I don't disagree.
The old line that the only person who could hold Michael under 20 was Dean Smith.
Yeah. I'm biased, of course. I love Izzo, but this year is case in point.
I mean, they're a bubble team, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's absurd.
No.
Now, I will say also, I think he's got to play a little easier schedule than what he's playing. He's still I think he actually needs to rein it in a little bit.
That has helped him a lot more than it's hurt him over the years, though.
I understand, but I think that the teams are getting younger and younger, and from a confidence standpoint, his teams are beat to crap by Christmas.
Not always. I mean, last year they beat what was it? Kentucky. They lost to Gonzaga by a bucket on the aircraft carrier.
No, I get it. I just think going forward, I just think he should pull back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Oh, we have a very animated trio as we begin the Diamond District bonus hour. If you're just joining us, we ended the network portion of the show with Bobby Reagan, covers college hoops for Barstool. And Mark asked him the question, listen, we know you hated Coach K. So now that he's gone, Boeheim's gone, Roy Williams gone in the last 2 years. I mean, okay, who's left? Who are you now going to hate? And he's like, yeah, I got to admit, I'm turning on Izzo. I'm tired of Tom Izzo.
I get it. I've watched the pressers, and if I weren't an alum who has an unbelievable amount of admiration for what he's done for that program, it gets a little old.
He does seem like he's become get off my lawn guy. And I obviously have a soft spot for get off my lawn guy.
Right.
I've been told I am get off my lawn guy. But he does seem like, I asked you guys during the break, is Izzo Dabo?
And the only reason I say no is that he's embraced the portal.
Okay.
And NIL. But
the modern game, I mean, he is not embraced. Michigan State still plays like it's the Mateen Cleaves team.
100%.
Yes, defend, rebound, run. That's what all those teams are built on. Here's the interesting thing. His class this year, the recruiting class, he can still recruit. And he
can recruit because Ishbia gave him an unlimited checkbook.
That's the game these days, though.
Yes.
Well, then play the damn guys you're recruiting.
That's where I was getting to. Was it's one thing to have the class, it's another to not to actually play them. And he doesn't play them. He plays Cohen Carr the most out of the freshmen. Now Jeremy Fears is the point guard. He got shot in the leg a couple weeks ago, so he maybe would have been in the rotation if things were a little differently. But you saw Booker last night. He can stretch the floor. He can hit threes, and that's what Reeves brought up. Put those guys in there and play a modern offense.
They were preseason top 5, and they're a bubble team. They did whack Michigan in the second half last night, but I actually think the 3 of us and 4 other guys down at the court could probably give Michigan a game these days. But win number 700 for Izzo. That's a lot.
It is. It's incredibly impressive.
But that's the guy you have to admit. We all would have lost that bet. You know, they went to the Final Four in 99. He wins it in 2000. And, I mean, how many times has he been back? Like 6? I mean, they've been to a bunch of Final Fours.
He's been to 8, including 2000. So Izzo has been to 8, and he's won it 1 time.
Right. So he went to the first 2. So he's been back 6 times.
Right.
And
he's only made the final once since then, and that was in
I
09
understand,
against
but
UNC.
that was my point, that it is surprising that you talk about guys in which we thought, oh, well, he'll get another one. And it's like, well, now he's 69 years old. And it's like, is he going to get number 2? I mean, you know, he's a Hall of Famer, his legacy, the whole deal, but it's kind of, I mean, you know, it's been almost a quarter century. It's like, oh, man, one more would be really nice. I mean, Mark, that's where you're at, right? When we talk about our teams and can I get one more title before my time is up? I mean, Tigers are probably first, but I'll bet Sparty basketball
No,
for you is second.
Sparty basketballs. That's. I mean, I've got the piece of paper on the wall from there. Now,
Okay.
Sparty basketball, Sparty anything would be ahead of
That would do
Detroit.
it for you.
It truly would.
Okay.
I mean, I
All
get
right.
fired up for the tournament, and I still think this team, because I paid a little bit of attention to them, this team has the talent to make another deep run, where all of a sudden they're in the Sweet 16 and everybody's going, January, February, March, Izzo. Stop it.
For the record, Trent, all right, the alums said that, okay, just for the record. So, you know, when I say it in about 3 weeks, you can't get mad at me because Miller said it first.
But if he makes a run, it'll be a 7-8 seed or a 6 seed or something
Like they
like
did
that.
last year.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is they're not supposed to be a 6 seed. They were supposed to be a 2 seed. When you're a preseason top 5, they have not lived up to expectations, and that routinely happens, and all of a sudden he figures it out.
Listen, Trent, hold on a second. 6 seed. They're a bubble team right now. When I see brackets right now, they're in the play-in. They're in Dayton right now.
Let me explain to you. This sounds like
No. But listen, if Michigan State in 6 weeks is a 6 seed, then they've gone on a run like New Mexico. And by the way, Bobby Reagan pointing out New Mexico, Richard Pitino's Lobos are slapping people right now. It's a good thing that the tournament isn't coming up because New Mexico would be a trendy Final Four pick. They are destroying people, good teams, and they are kicking them right now.
And by the way, a team that really needs a win right now is the Florida Gators, and they've got Kentucky tonight.
Yes,
At
they
some
do.
point, Florida's got to win a couple of games here, and they're good enough to beat teams. They've underperformed this year.
They don't have, I believe, what's the one group one or no? It's not group.
No,
it's
quad one.
Quad one. They don't have a quad one, and I don't know how many quad 2 wins they have either. I mean, it's a very hollow resume right now for the Gators. They need something to hang their hat on if they're going to remain like this and want to bid in 6 weeks. And this obviously would do it. They've only won 10 times at Rupp. I think they're 10-40 at Rupp historically. And 4 of the wins at Rupp were with teams that went to the Final Four. Did you take the points tonight?
No, I wouldn't. But these two play high-scoring games, and this game should get up to the mid to high 80s. That's where both average. So I would expect this game to be up there from a point standpoint.
I'll tell you what. I know John Cal's had trouble getting out of his own way lately, and everybody's down on him. This is a good team. This is a fun team. They got 2 guys. They're 2 guys who come off the bench for them. I mean, they could start on top 10 teams in the country. This is a good team. I mean, that Reed Shepherd kid, man, can he shoot it?
You know, Billis said, I was watching a Kentucky game, and Billis said something pretty simple that I took a lot into. And he said, this is the first team in a while that Cal hasn't had to coach to play basketball, meaning these guys are all hungry basketball players. It's not, he's had a lot of talent, but you could question how much they wanted to play and how hard they played. And this team's not that. These guys all want to play hard, so he can actually coach them hard. And the big guy, they got the European there, the 7-footer that's now eligible.
Right.
Kentucky's going to be a tough out, David. I'm with you.
So Barstool Sleeper in our Twitch chat room says the Izzo discussion reminds him of how Steeler fans feel about Tomlin. I don't think we're there. I don't think Izzo's lost the support amongst Spartan Nation the way Tomlin has with the Steelers.
I think you're right, given the fact that Trent's phone blew up from people in Michigan when we criticized Izzo on the show. Their first reaction. So inside the mitten, David, it's still in Izzo we trust. Whereas in Pittsburgh, it's not in Tomlin we trust anymore. I think you're right.
Because I believe Tomlin's got 3 or 4 playoff wins since their last Super Bowl appearance. Whereas, I mean, Izzo was in the Final Four.
2019.
What was it?
It was my
the year before the pandemic, right?
Yep. And then they would have gone. They would have at least made a run in 2020. They were coming off.
Well, there were a lot of teams. I mean, you know, there were a lot of
State, Dayton that year. Yeah, I know. They won the Big Ten that year, you know, so they were.
That's true. No,
to make another run.
That's true. Although I've seen Michigan State teams win the Big Ten go into the tournament as a 2 seed and get beat in the first round, but that's why we love the tournament.
It happened once.
All hell can break loose. We love it. Love it. That's something, by the way. That's something they better not screw up. Greg Sankey, are you listening? Stop it with this 96 team field crap. Do not take away from the Thursday, Friday of March Madness. If you're going to propose anything in your sport that's going to make those 2 days less special than they are right now, it's a bad idea.
It's terrible. A horrible idea.
We're 3 for 3 on that.
In fact, David, pay-per-view Super Bowl or the tournament expanding to 96 teams.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I mean, listen, we'd all blank and moan if they pay-per-view the Super Bowl, but how many of us are not going to watch the game? I mean, we would suck it up. We would pay it. We would. We would pay it.
Everybody would. It's the
Not
Super Bowl. It's part of American culture.
But I mean, listen, if we throw money into the pool for squares, I think there'd be more Super Bowl parties, though. I actually think less people would watch at home alone. I do think people would congregate more as a group, and it's kind of like, here's my 10, here's my 20, I'll chip in, what have you. But we're not going to not watch the Super Bowl. I mean, we laugh every year. There's 100 to 115 million people who watch the Super Bowl. That means over 200 million people are not watching the Super Bowl. Name me 4. No, are there 4? My Aunt Kathy doesn't watch the Super Bowl. She doesn't. That's the only person I know who doesn't watch the Super Bowl. And apparently 2/3 of Americans are not watching the game. I'm sorry. That's crap. It's crap, I tell you. It's crap.
You know what? You're now at a good spot because before you were in a neighborhood and it's hard to walk. Maybe you could knock on some doors. You got, 24 units in that building there?
Yes.
Maybe you could knock on a few third-floor doors and say, hey.
I'm going to do it.
You watching the game?
Yep. I'm one of the younger people in the building, too. That'll be great. 6:30 on a Sunday, me banging on doors. Louise! You don't have to open the door. What are you watching? Yeah, you know what?
Your wife can take the binoculars that she spies on people with and look into houses from the lanai and see how many games, how many TVs the Super Bowl's on.
Yep. She's convinced the cartels across the pond.
Right.
And I, of course, keep saying which cartel. That really gets her going. So you know what, Mark? You're right. I may do some R&D Super Bowl Sunday.
We'll get the report on what Jacksonville is watching.
Well, I just want to see. Apparently, 2/3 of America is not watching the Super Bowl. I don't know. I'm saying the rating system's flawed. That's all. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Whatever. It's in 25 minutes.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Just looking at the schedule, I don't think Michigan State is going to be more than a 2-point underdog in a game until at Purdue on March 2nd. I mean, because this is a chance for them to win. I mean, they beat Michigan last
All right, so what's next?
Maryland at home.
Okay, that should be a win.
Minnesota on the road.
That should be a win.
Illinois at home. That'll be
that
tough
has to be a win.
And it
doesn't hurt them. They'd still get in the tournament if they lose it. But if
it's a resume win,
right?
You know, because right now Illinois is 14th in the nation. Then you got Penn State on the road. They suck this year. Michigan on the road. They suck this year. Iowa at home, and then Purdue.
They'll lose one. They'll lose
too.
somewhere in there. They're not going to win 8-9 in a row.
I think so too. But I'm just throwing that out there. This is a chance for them to really. So, you know, I know David can't hear us, but I mean, that's where you look. That's how they can get to be a 7 or 6 seed.
Oh, I think they end up being a 6 seed. I do.
Because then who knows? I mean, they've been known to.
But they have largely disappointed this year.
This year, no doubt.
Outside of the Baylor game.
No doubt about it. No doubt this year. But, you know, even last year, they weren't anything special, 7 seed. Then they upset Marquette, who was a 2, and Shaka Smart in the second round. They go to the Sweet 16, and they take Kansas State to OT.
Boy, they had them too.
They did. They really did. Oh.
That was a great game.
It was awesome.
That was a great
game I've
game.
ever watched. Just back and forth. Big shots. Old school, too. They were working the block, working the elbow jumper. So you guys obviously know who John Rothstein is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he thinks that the only problem with the NCAA tournament, if there is one, is that the automatic bids have to do play-in games. The first four.
Right.
You can win the Sun Belt, and you have to go play in the first four.
Yeah, we've talked
your way
about that. I don't like it either. I think you should.
If you win your conference tournament, you're in the field of 64. And then
Yes.
you can put the whoever, the
last
Miami
8
or the Florida.
The last 8 would then be.
Yeah.
Instead of the final, it would be the last 8 would be those games. It'll never happen.
No, it won't, because they like to pick off 2 of the 16 seeds and whatever.
But the other side of that is here we've got FGCU who played in one of those games and got a tournament win.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's the other side of it. You are credited with the tournament win.
That's true. And for that one night, I mean, there's only 2 games on. Tuesday, Wednesday. There's only 2 games on each, so you get a lot of eyeballs. But I'm with you guys. The day they expand the tournament at all is the day it starts going backwards.
This is my last segment, and then I got to run.
All right. You got to run now?
No. This will be
okay.
My apologies.
You're good. Here we go.
You might want to put your.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Transition week continues with only one football game left, and that not this weekend. So, it's time to get you update on everything. It's actually NHL All-Star Weekend taking place this weekend. It's been a crazy week in the NHL. They had like 1 game Monday, 2 Tuesday. They've got 3 tonight, and then they're finally gonna, take All-Star Week off. But most of the leagues had the whole week off. It's strange. So, not that anyone's paying attention or anything. Got Pebble getting underway tomorrow. It's one of those signature series events. Big purse. 48 of the top 50 people in the world are in it. Although Rory said, by the way, it's not as special a win without Rom or DJ here. I mean, honestly, can we drug test him? Who is this guy?
Rory has come 180 in the shortest time period ever. He was going scorched earth not more than 6 months ago against any live player that was out there. They were dead to him, and we're never getting back in the PGA Tour if he had his way.
No, 6 months ago, there must be consequences if they want to come back. There must be penalties. There must be consequences. Yesterday, let them back right away. Okay? Faster we can get and come together, the better it is for golf.
I think it's hard to punish people. I don't think there should be a punishment.
Right. No. This is Republicans and Democrats working together for the betterment of the country. I mean, this is that bat blank crazy what's going on right now. And think about what would have to happen for that to happen in our political landscape right now. Think about what the seismic event would have to be for that to happen. Well, what then is happening that we don't fully know about in golf? No, because, he's not doing this because John Rahm sat him down after the Ryder Cup over some beers and convinced him. Something's going on here. And I wonder if it's, quite frankly, the economic survival of the PGA Tour for them to make the money that they've started to make because of LIV in the last 18 months, and they want to keep making it.
David, is it possible that Cohen and Arthur Blank and the Fenway Group, who are going to pony up this $3 billion, have looked at the numbers or looked at the financials and said, yeah, we're not. And that the only thing left is the PIF money, and therefore Rory is making amends because the money that's coming in is the Saudis.
Supposedly in 6 minutes, all right, the commissioner is going to have a series of Zoom calls with the players. And apparently it starts in like 6 minutes. So, I mean, obviously that's an update on, what's going on. But somebody leaked out the email that was sent yesterday, which, by the way, the tour players have to love this, right? They're in Pebble, and the commissioner's calling for a 9:30 a.m. Eastern time conference call. Yeah, that's 6:30 a.m. where the golfers are.
Right.
This guy really knows how to make friends and influence people, doesn't he? How many of these golfers are going to be like, yeah, I'll have my handlers watch it. They can send me the cliff notes.
I will say, probably the most intriguing Pebble Beach Pro-Am we've had in forever, because it's an elevated event and they're all playing. 45 of the top 50 players in the world are there. The only reason 5 aren't is because, well, they're on the Live Tour.
Right. I guess it's 48 of the 50 who played in the BMW, or in the Tour Championship, or well, not the playoffs last year. Right. So, and obviously Rahm's not playing, well, because he's not allowed to. Although it sounds like if it was up to Rory, he changed that immediately.
And the interesting thing about all of these top players playing in this event is that, by and large, the PGA Tour players hate this event.
Hate it. Haven't played it in years.
They despise this event. They don't want to play with amateurs. They don't want 6.5-hour rounds.
Did you hear, by the way, no amateurs on the weekends this year?
Okay.
It's a 2-day Pro-Am. That's it. No amateurs on the weekends. There is no Pro-Am championship, which, by the way, they proudly display on the back of the first tee at Pebble. I mean, it lists it's big to them. The Pro-Am team that wins the title.
What this tournament is.
Yes.
This is Bing's tournament.
And apparently, Brady and Rogers are in it. Alex Smith is in it. And apparently they get 36 holes, and that's it.
Well, didn't Rogers win it last year and got accused of being a sandbagger?
Yes, because his handicap was like a 10 or something like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Shocker. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
And oh, by the way, I think this weekend the LIV, their first tournament's in Mexico. Rahm, I believe, meeting with the media today. We'll try to have a golf guest on tomorrow. Probably won't have anybody who's out in California. We'll just have, somebody who was covering the LIV to talk about life on the tour, which is getting really interesting. I'm just trying to figure out, once again, Mark, I'm the worst business person in the world. I don't know how to make money as a sportscaster, never mind being in business. But how is Cohen and Arthur Blank and the Fenway Group, and how are they going to get their $3 billion back? I know the tour is profitable. I get it. The networks, by the way, make a lot of money. This is the only major sport that the networks make money hand over fist televising. Golf.
Because the production costs of this are every bit as high as anything else.
They are, but some of it's worked into the sponsorship. Okay, that literally, John Hancock helps pay the production cost. It's worked in, but also, all those. Think about it. You're selling golf clubs and golf balls. You can charge the highest rate. Those companies have to advertise here. And that's one of the reasons why golf's so popular with the networks. Only Fox could lose money televising golf.
Well, and that's because they paid.
Yeah, they paid $93 million for basically one tournament. This ain't the SEC championship game. That's basically what they found out. This ain't the Big Ten title game in Indianapolis. By the way, you're going to have the U.S. Open when Tiger Woods isn't even going to make the cut for 5 years. Go.
When's he going to play, by the way? Genesis, is that what they're talking about?
Isn't it mid-February is his event? It's not Super Bowl weekend. It's the weekend after, right?
Okay.
Is his tournament that he hosts out in California. Because Phoenix is the one that's always
right. That's
Super Bowl weekend. Right.
Or next week, rather. Yeah.
Right. So, and then I believe his event. So there you go. A little golf talk.
Little
Season
golf,
underway.
little college basketball. We're
Yeah.
trying. We told you.
Totally.
This is your introduction to Sports Week on Miller and Moulton.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. Our poll question's still the NFL. I mean, there are 4 teams that have never made the Super Bowl. Which one of the 4 is going to make it first? Detroit, Cleveland, Jacksonville, or Houston?
Detroit and Houston taking up nearly 89% of the vote.
Wow. Wow, that's a lot of CJ Stroud love, man.
Yeah, it is.
Boy,
Yes,
what a
it
difference
is.
a year makes, huh?
That question a year ago, Jacksonville would have probably been the overwhelming favorite on there.
And Houston might have been last. So there you go. That's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Vote accordingly.
21,000 is the text line. We've been talking a little bit about, we started our poll question was about a pay-per-view Super Bowl, and that's why I was hitting David with the pay-per-view question a moment ago, is that's
Right.
where the direction we were thinking about going in.
Yeah, and we'll probably do it tomorrow, to be honest. I mean, we're not the most creative duo in the world. Trent's behind the glass nodding his head going, yeah, I can vouch for that.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
After 18 hours on a train, how would you feel after 18 hours on a train?
Oh my God.
It's actually probably better than 18 hours in the car. It's got to be. I've done that before.
All right, so the tour just got their money from the Strategic Sports Group. That's why he's having that call.
Interesting. By the way, I think it's as simple as what you guys said in the beginning, that Rory knows the PGA can't survive without changing his tune, so he's changing his tune. It's like like politics.
Yeah, but if they're getting this, here's the thing: if they're getting this unless they need the money from the Saudis too. I mean, $3 billion.
It's a lot of money. So I'm finally ending all of my Lions superstitions that I had going all season long. Certain routines.
Well, you haven't had a Lions shirt on in a few days here.
I wore one Monday.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because in case you guys wanted to give me any grief for, jumping ship, I had to. But yeah, no, it'll be a lot of Spartan gear now. The team that shall not be named, the Tigers. Lions mixed in, of course, but I have a Lions pillowcase that I washed it throughout the season and stuff. But that was my pillow.
What are you, 10?
Yes. I'll we Snapchat my friends or whatever. They're like, what are you sleeping on? What is that? Bless you.
Thank you.
But I'd go to stay at my aunt and uncle's at Cape Coral. They have pillows there, but I had to bring my pillow.
Had to bring your whoopee.
Lions pillow. Yeah. Had to have it. But anyway, stuff like that is now kind of shuffling out. I have a regular white pillowcase now. The volume on the TV was always 16 because that's Goff's number. I'm talking things like that.
Wow.
My whole mindset has now changed. Yeah. It'll start back up in September, but for now.
Yeah, my TV volume went louder than whenever my mother and wife were speaking. Because then they're starting to talk to me about the play that they were at on Sunday. They went to see a play at Barbara B. Mann, and they start talking to me about the play. I looked right at my mother. I said, Mom, I don't mean to be rude, but I don't care. I said, I don't care at all right now. You want to get me at halftime and talk to me about the play?
Right.
I'm in. But right now, I got Greg here. We're watching.
I need less of this.
We're Kevin and Greg. That's all we're listening to right now.
Do you like Greg?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I think he does a good job.
But I'm not one of those that if I don't like the announcers, it doesn't really, I can tune them out.
Go. Yeah, I can too. Same way.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. We are Miller and Moulton, and thank you for listening so much. Valentine's Day is going to get up there pretty quickly, so if you're looking for that perfect gift, the Diamond District will have it for you no matter what your price range is. The Diamond District has something within it, whether you're looking for something on the maybe inexpensive side, or you're really going to go out and do it right and buy a big, large rock for that woman in your life. The Diamond District has that and everything in between. So check them out and make sure you tell them that Miller and Moulton sent you. Quickly want to get to this because it happened about 20 minutes ago or so. We were talking about Commissioner Monahan having his conference call at 9:30, right about now, with players. And the reason that is that the PGA Tour has closed on a deal with the Strategic Sports Group at an investment pegged at $3 billion. That's a done deal now. That is the group led by the Fenway Sports Group and Arthur Blank. There's one other owner that's involved in that, but that's the $3 billion. That's why the conference call is coming. It's still, we still are led to believe that the PGA Tour is in talks with the PIF, the Saudis, for that fund money, but we'll see how that all shakes out. But that has a lot to do with why this conference calls. That has everything to do with why this conference call is happening this morning. We'll probably we will definitely have a golf guest on tomorrow to update you more as this will develop throughout the day and things are leaked out as what happened on the Zoom call.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Probably needed David for this one today. He's picking mom up at the train station. That's why he's taking the last segment off. But there's not a lot that happened on today. We start in 1865 rather. Congress passed the 13th Amendment abolishing slavery, kind of a biggie. We skip all the way to 1970. If you're a Dead fan, you know the line "busted" on Bourbon Street, set up like a bowling pin. Well, that was because today the Grateful Dead was busted on Bourbon Street with their entourage for having LSD.
Are you a Deadhead?
Yes,
Really?
I went to. I'm not like a nut job. I would have loved to have traveled, and I had friends in college who would on spring break would go travel with the Dead and go see all kinds of shows.
You had friends who were nut jobs.
Oh yeah, very much so. Eric Zarenter, top of the list, but no, I've seen 7 shows, I think, something like that.
That's a good few.
Saul, when I worked at the Omni in Atlanta, I actually snuck into the Omni, didn't pay to see the Dead. That's kind of one of my favorite free concerts that I've ever been to. Love Roller Coaster by the Ohio Players was number 1 today in 1976. Blondie's The Tide is High, number 1 in 81. Super Bowl 22 was today in 88. That was Washington pounding Denver 42-10 in San Diego. Doug Williams, your MVP. For those of you old enough to remember, today was a great day in 1990. Trent, you would have loved it. The National began publishing. It was an all-sports daily newspaper. It was the single greatest publication for sports that ever happened.
Where was it published?
It was national.
Well, national, but where was it based?
I don't remember, but they had different offices. Like there was a Detroit edition. There was different editions, but it had everything. It was your agate page that had all the box scores, one page on every game. It was truly delightful.
Amazing.
And it went out of business because
people suck.
Well, the business model wasn't, a lot of money on a lot of reporters and not enough money in advertising. 1993 Super Bowl 27, Dallas pounded the Bills 52-17 at the Rose Bowl. Troy Aikman, your Super Bowl MVP. Today in 1999, The Family Guy premieres on Fox.
Are you a fan?
Oh, absolutely. How could I not be? That show is full of snark. That is 100% snark. That's my kind of show. And today in 2015, Lydia Ko at 17 became the number 1 ranked golfer, the youngest male or female ever to be ranked number 1. Jersey Joe Walcott, Jackie Robinson, and Ernie Banks all born today. Nolan Ryan, 77. I think you could still put him in and get 3 outs.
Yep, I would agree.
I think he could throw 9 heaters and get through a side. KC, as in KC and the Sunshine Band, Casey is 73 today. Coach Doug Peterson is 56, and Justin Timberlake is 43 years old today.
I've got 2 for you.
Uh-oh.
If you want them.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Jackson 5 scored their first number 1 hit ever in 1970 on this day. I Want You Back.
All
Originally written for, I think, Gladys Knight maybe, or Diana Ross.
Diana Ross and the Supremes.
It was also their Motown debut. It's kind of a big deal. And also in 1976, just to give you an idea of how big ABBA was at this time, they took Queen over for the number 1 hit in the UK. Mamma Mia overtook Bohemian Rhapsody.
As
What a
David would
time.
say, we were doing a lot of drugs in the 70s, and there's a reason why we were listening to ABBA.
What a time for music.
Oh, I don't know if you go that far.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Washington State for the good, where a woman went to buy some lottery tickets. Now, why she bought 4 identical tickets in the same lottery drawing remains a mystery. But she hit on every one of them. The top prize was $10,000. She hit it for $40,000. She used a combination of her mom's birthday and her own birthday, and she's a winner. Her husband was speechless. You know why? Because he's probably not getting any of the money. I really wanted David for this story because I was going to try to get him to cringe and or blush. But for the bad, we go to St. Petersburg, Florida, where a naked woman wielding a sharp-edged vegetable peeler threatened convenience store workers, destroyed a Red Bull display, and then flipped the buzzard in front of the sheriff's deputies before being taken into custody last night on a variety of criminal charges. Celia Barrett caused her drunken disturbance at the racetrack gas station. She walked in naked and began yelling about being trespassed from the building on the prior day. Then she went after the Red Bull display, took that down. And then when the police arrived while she was naked, she decided to pleasure herself in front of police deputies.
Judas, what are we doing, lady?
She admitted to be intoxicated and said she had approximately 6 shots of liquor.
Is that? I mean, that's a lot, but that doesn't warrant doing that.
No. Trent, you know what? Has there ever been a time in your life where outdoors in public you said, you know what's going to make this all go away? I'll take off all my clothes.
No, absolutely not.
Well, let's keep it that way.
Yep.
For the ugly, we go to Orlando, where a parent is suing a Hooters restaurant after their child stepped on mold outside the business and fell. Child was injured, and they are now seeking $50,000 in damages because of the child's bodily injury, mental or psychological disorders resulting in pain and suffering. Maybe you shouldn't bring your kid to Hooters.
Yeah, well, that was where my mind went first.
One Florida thing I've never really understood, and I have no problem with Hooters. Come on now. Anybody that knows me knows that I don't necessarily think their food's great, but I have no problem with the concept or anything else about it.
It's a fun place to go.
If you're a guy,
yes,
in your 20s and even in your 30s. Beyond that, you start being creepy.
You think?
Okay, let's just be honest. But I get it. You know, they're creepy guys all over looking at scantily clad women. But why they think it's a family restaurant? That's one that's always baffled me.
Yeah. I think it has that feel of a B-dubs, except the women are walking around with.
But I guess it is. But there you go. That's the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, January the 31st, 2024. All right.
What do we got? 3
NHL games tonight, as this is the final 3 before the All-Star break. Ottawa's at Detroit. The LA Kings are in Nashville, and San Jose takes on Anaheim. San Jose won last night, back-to-back games. Gotta love Anaheim in that one. In the association, the Heat are a 1.5-point favorite at home against Sacramento. It is amazing that the Heat could be favored against anybody right now the way they're playing.
Do you think there's any chance Jimmy Butler's days are numbered in Miami?
I don't, because
I don't either, but I'm here. People are saying that.
Glad you brought it up. It was one of the Talking Head show was talking about getting Jimmy Butler out of there. The point that was made to rebut that is who's got if you're going to trade him to a contender, what contender has the assets to give Miami back enough? So maybe in the offseason, I could see something happening, but I have trouble seeing something happen at the deadline because they're not going to send Butler to a bad team.
Deadline just a couple weeks away, by the way.
Chicago takes on Charlotte, the Clippers and the Wizards, the Pistons and the Cavs. Rockets host New Orleans. That's a decent game. Dallas and Minnesota. Orlando is taking on the Spurs. They're a 4.5-point favorite on the road.
Good chance for them to get back on track.
Denver and OKC, probably your best game of the night. Oklahoma City is a 1.5-point favorite in that one. Dame goes back to Portland tonight.
Oh.
The Bucks are a 10.5-point favorite taking on Portland.
I was just thinking, what game am I going to watch tonight? And I'll probably tune into a little bit of Nuggets Thunder at 8 o'clock, but 10 o'clock, Dame's return. That's something.
Alabama on the road against Georgia. The 24th ranked Crimson Tide take Where the hell did that come from? I don't even know where that came from. But the Crimson Tide taking on Georgia. Georgia's better this year. They're not good, but they're starting to build a program. Can they win against a ranked team tonight at home? Purdue, the number 2 ranked Boilermakers, are at home against Northwestern. South Florida takes on East Carolina in Greenville, North Carolina. The Pirates are a 2.5-point favorite in that one. UCF is a 2.5-point dog at home against 18th ranked Baylor. Kentucky and Florida at it tonight. Kentucky a 5.5-point favorite in that one. UConn 12.5-point favorite over Providence, and Auburn nearly a 20-point favorite against Vanderbilt. New Mexico is at home against Boise tonight. If you are so inclined to watch New Mexico, as Bobby Reagan talked about, they're an 11.5-point favorite tonight at home against Boise State, and that is a little bit of what's going on. You got a best bet tonight, Trent?
I do love New Mexico minus 11.5 for a lot of the reasons Bobby laid out. If you're a college basketball purist, watch New Mexico. I know it's at 10:30, tough ask for a lot of people, but they play the right way times a million. Very fun to watch. Pitino's a great coach. I will say this too, Mark. Tonight, I really like Northwestern to cover the 13.5 at Purdue.
On the road?
On the road.
Oh.
Just cover. They'll lose by 8 to 12 points, but they're 14-point dogs. This line's already moved, by the way, 2 points since our show started, because I looked this morning and it was 11.5. It's now up to 13.5 to Purdue.
So you're betting right into the money.
I might let it go even, because it might get up to 14.5 by the time it tips off, but I like Northwestern to keep it close. They got good shooters.
Laying a big number, but I would play Anaheim tonight at home against San Jose. Back-to-back games for the Sharks. They're not very good. I can't expect San Jose to win 2 in a row. So I'll take Anaheim as my best pick. There you go. NHL, Anaheim, and San Jose. No degenerates on this show, as we've got New Mexico basketball and an Anaheim-San Jose game as our best bets tonight.
You've been rolling with the hockey bets.
Back-to-backs.
Yeah.
I think it's a safe play with bad teams, if you know what I mean.
Sure. And no one knows hockey better on this show than you do. And, you know, kind of a weird time in the season. A little bit of a slum before you.
This is weird.
Break.
I would have been playing all kinds of games Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then laying off.
Yeah.
Because next week they'll start a full schedule. And I get it. Hockey guy's not football guy, but you're going up against all the hype of the Super Bowl all week long.
What was it? Monday? We had 1 game.
1 game Monday, 2 yesterday, and then 3 tonight, and they're on break until Monday when they resume after the All-Star break. Tomorrow on the show, we will definitely talk some golf. We'll get into the coaching carousel in the NFL, as well as we'll see if the final dominoes fall there, as now the big thing to watch in Tampa is what are they going to do on the offensive side? What's Miami going to do on the defensive side? Miami's got it down to, they've interviewed quite a few people for the D coordinator job, Leslie Frazier being one of them, and Staley, the former Chargers coach, being one as well.
Is there anyone that Miami could promote from within?
They have one. They've interviewed some of their own coaches. I think the linebacker coach was interviewed. He's a candidate as well. But it all comes down to, and we had David Bearman on the show, is really the synergy between McDaniel and whoever this coach is, because from all indications that there was no real relationship between Fangio and McDaniel. And what people who are coming out of the interviews are talking about is McDaniel's pressed them. He sounds like he wants whoever it is to be a blitzing type.
Yeah.
So defense.
Maybe then you do go outside. I just have always been of the belief that after you come off a season like that, sometimes it's not the worst thing in the world to just stay in house. But if McDaniel and Fangio weren't really seeing eye to eye, then maybe you got to go outside.
So we'll keep an eye on what happens in the coaching world today. Obviously, big golf news, $3 billion coming into the PGA Tour. How will that affect what goes forward with them? And it doesn't lead to any of the PIF funds. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll do it all over again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accident.